Jamie hasn't arrived for the party yet, and then I can walk in underneath her legs, and I'm.
Oh, okay. We love that. We love it. I wondered where you was going with that then.
Do you have a party trick?
Do I have a party trick? I feel like they asked me this in the villa and I had one. Oh, I can peel a banana with my toes. I can tie, the cherry stalk with my tongue. And
Okay.
I'm all right at accents.
Okay. Good with accents.
Okay.
Hit me with an Australian one straight up.
G'day, mate.
So
How are you? I do prefer like American.
Okay.
That's probably better for me, but it's very LA. I used to live there, so
Oh, whereabouts in LA did you live?
I don't really know. I was so young. I went to school there. It's like California, LA, Los Angeles, just outside the center. So
Until how old?
I lived there until it was only for a year. My dad was working there and I lived there how old was I? 12? 11, 12?
Your dad's a bit of a legend.
Yeah, he is.
He's a famous actor.
Yeah.
And he was in sort of he's sort of like a gangster sort of movies and things like that. And I grew up watching his films, and then seeing you then go on, I was like, get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people were quite excited, and everyone was like, how is this man who's quite a hard character let his daughter go on national television on Love Island? And I think he was just like, no sex on telly. Do not do that to me. And I was like, I'm not doing that anyway, because that's not my business. I don't want that. But yeah, that was the one rule. No sex on telly. But other than that, he's been fine.
I read that your dad played a part with you getting on Love Island back in 2019. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what did he say?
So it basically happened, right? I was with someone, we had a really toxic ending. Okay. And he cheated on me. And it was really bad. And in an argument with him, I was like, you know what? Fuck you, I'm going on Love Island. And he was like, you can't do that. And I was like, you cheated on me. You did this to me. I'm going on Love Island. I meant nothing by it. It was just all me just talking shit. I told my dad about this argument and he called me a couple of weeks later and was like, you said about doing Love Island. I'm actually sat with someone who knows a producer. Would you do it? So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll have the call with him. And then they were like, yeah, we love her. We want to get her in. But the season had already started. So they were like, the earliest we can get her in is Casa Amor. Would she do it? And I was like, oh, no, I can't do that. Anyway, did it. Had a great time. First time round.
Wait, Belle, but I need that. So hang on a second.
Let's just rewind.
So you were in a relationship for 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your first love?
Yeah, I would probably say so. Yeah.
Right. So it's that intense love. Like, we're all young. You just don't really turn left, right, up, down, and it's like everything from like fiery to like everything's exaggerated, right?
Yeah.
Well, he then cheated on you.
Yeah. So he went away for work. And I got a message, hey, girl, just wondering if you're still with so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Seen this one before. So I replied to her. Her friends had photos of them kissing in the club, this, that, and the other. He denied it a lot. It was a lot. And I think I was quite young at the time as well. Didn't really understand about, I think in the last few years, this thing of understanding narcissistic behavior patterns, right, has become so popular and so spoken about, and people are so open about it. So people having narcissistic traits, now you can spot them because so many people are talking openly about
Galaxies.
At that time, I had no idea. So like,
yeah, that's what it sounded like. Her daddy got it for
her. I didn't even realize. I didn't even know. So I could have spotted the signs before that and didn't.
Like, what was he doing that was narcissistic, would you say?
He was a little bit controlling. Like, he'd always have a go at me about things going out. Like, if I wore certain clothes, he would always tell me that I looked like prostitute. Sometimes he would say, if I had a bit of cleavage out. He was quite aggressive a lot of the time, and I kind of bypass that because I'm used to having strong men around me. So I'm like, oh, maybe he's just passionate, like, oh, it's fine.
You make an excuse for it.
Yeah, and I think I so desperately wanted to be loved and to love him that I just missed it all. And, you know, he would lie a lot. He'd lie all the time about things. He would do something to me and then gaslight me and pretend it never happened. And I used to think I was going mad. Yeah. And it was only when my mum actually heard it, because he didn't realise my mum was in the house. And I was like, oh, my mum went, he's gaslighting you. This is not normal. Like, I heard what he did and now he's lying and saying he didn't do it. So, you know, he'd do a lot of that. And I think I went through such a stage of being like, I'm the problem. It's me. I'm a nightmare. I'm a
Baby Belle.
Me. You know, and he used to sort of say a thing.
Okay, so we're looking at this interview. It's her first interview. Remember, she left. This is Belle Hassan. Love Island All Stars just ended. She was with Scott. No, she was with Sean. Sean left her for Lucinda. Then she went after Scott, who was with Leanne. But she's going to retell the whole story. She's going to rewrite history, you guys. That's why we're watching it this morning, because I watched the season and I felt like she was beggy, hyphy Belle, and I didn't know why people were like pretending like it was her behavior was okay. I was like, here's Huda 2.8. And so she did what she did on the show. And now she's on her first interview. And remember, she left the island talking about, oh, as soon as I get out of here, Scott, I'm going to tell everybody on you. I'm going to really tell and da da da. It's like, bitch, move on already, is what I was feeling. Because what do you have to tell that's going to influence anything? Because you were on a dating show and you, bottom line is, you didn't get picked, bitch. Like, that's just where I am with her. And I felt like she was trying to make Leanne, the black girl, look less than with whatever she was going to try to say in these interviews. So I feel like whatever she went through after the show, she got honest. She showed her whole ass on the show. And after she got off the show, people are like, oh, we saw your asshole, Belle. And now she wants to cry that everybody knows her asshole isn't pink. And I'm just like, okay. But let's take a listen. So far she revealed that her dad got her on the show. And yeah, she's kind of used to getting gaslit, I guess. I don't know. But let's just listen. Let's just listen. I just want to listen with you guys. I don't need to talk a lot.
And kind of like subconsciously implement that to me.
How does that relationship affect your self-confidence?
I think at the time it massively did. Now, not so much. Like, I think with relationships like that, you learn from them, you grow from them, you understand, okay, hang on a minute. You can't keep sitting here trying to make me feel like I'm unlovable. No, you're the problem. You know, like, we all do things wrong. You know, I'm not a perfect person. I never have been. I never will be. You know, we've all got our issues. And, you know, I'm a bit mad. I do lose my shit. And I'll never hide that, because that's who I am. You know, and I think when I left that relationship, it was more the trust issues with other men. I was like, he lied so much about this whole cheating thing. The way I found out was like an assault course. It was like crazy having to get the truth out. And, you know, it's like, it happens. You know, every woman you speak to, probably 99% have had a toxic relationship or someone make them feel like they're unlovable. But what I learned as I got older is that's just a reflection of how he feels about himself and less about how he feels about me. And it took me a long time to realize that.
If we take it back to the beginning, you went on and you're known as like Hurricane Belle, right? This person, and as we found out, right, you see is what you get, and I can vouch for that, right? Like today, you're authentic, you're real, and you're also kind and lovely and warm and all these things, right? So we all have our some people,
Yeah.
Go into stars. You know, the customers you have this temper. So there's an element perhaps where you know, they want to lean into that because it makes great TV.
Yeah.
It's exciting and fun for now, what happens in the villa for anyone who doesn't understand is you were sort of coupled with Sean.
Yeah.
And you felt like you were on a good sort of run together. You then go to the USA villa.
Mm-hmm.
Where you come back. She says you was a couple of Lucinda.
Yeah.
Talk me through that moment and why that was upsetting and why the reaction happened the way it did. Just, we understand.
When we went to USA Villa, me and Sean were in a really good place because we'd been a bit up and down, sort of on and off, and we were in a really good place. And, you know, when we go to USA Villa, you're not allowed to say bye. You literally, going to USA Villa, that's it, quickly go.
Too fast.
So when I'd come back, so we were there for, I think it was 3 days.
Mhm.
So in the first 2
Which is like a
days,
lifetime.
yeah, it feels like 7 years. But when I'd got back to, obviously I didn't do anything, and I was like, no, I'm going to go back before I explore anything with anyone else. I know we're not closed off, but I want to be respectful, go and have that conversation with him, see what he's saying and that kind of thing. When I go back, I knew that the producers wanted me to have fun. And they were like, have fun, have a flirt, do this, like they're like, enjoy it. You're in the USA villa, enjoy it.
And this is what we're not seeing as a viewer.
Yeah.
We're not seeing producers come and say to you,
Like, have fun, like you have producers on set at all times. So they're like, have fun, go enjoy it, do your thing. And I just couldn't, because for me, my respect for Sean, I was like, I just can't. And when I got back, I found out that Sean and Lucinda both had been upset about me and Tommy for 2 of the days. And on the last day, all of a sudden there was this big change that Lucinda wanted to be with Sean. And I don't know if it was aired or not, but there was a conversation. I think it was I think Helena, Sammy and Lucinda. I definitely know Sammy was in that. I'm not sure if Helena was there at this point. There was definitely a conversation that was had. And one of the girls said to Lucinda, is this real? Because getting on, they've got feelings for each other and everything's really good. So are you doing this because you're bored, or are you doing this because like you really like him? She was like, oh, well, I fancy him, but yeah, like, no, it's not serious. And the girls were like, is it really worth upsetting Belle for a storyline? Because let's have it right, that's what it is at this point. And she was like, well, yeah, like I need to do what I need to do. So I'm then assuming, I'm like, have the production sort of said to her to do that? Have they not? Is she just wanting storyline because it's getting boring over there? What's going on here? And just with Sean, like, I just had enough of him. He was just pissing me off. Like, he just was on, off, on, off. Every time I try and talk to someone new, he'd come back and then want things to go ahead. Then when we're together, he'd find someone else. And I think guys are just, well, I say guys, some guys are like that. They sort of don't want you, but don't want you to move on. So I think that's where a lot of that come from. And, I've been through a lot of hurt with guys. So when I said to him, there was a line, yeah, and I was like, I've given you nothing but respect. And I've been there for you. There were so many scenes where, when Sean called Scott a bully, and I backed him and I stood up for him. And, he was crying. He was in a really bad way, Sean. And when we'd go to bed, there were nights where he was crying and he was upset and he was like, I'm really struggling, like, because of my previous experience with Love Island wasn't good. Like, he was so in his head. And I was like, just relax, it's fine. I was really there for him. So I felt like he'd sort of betrayed that loyalty we had for each other. And that, yeah, maybe that's a subconscious trigger for me from previous partners. I have been cheated on, I have been hurt. And, last year when I split up with my most recent ex, that was horrendous. The breakup was horrendous. So, yeah, there probably was a lot of triggers that came out there that I was probably quite unaware that I had.
And loyalty and respect is a big thing for you, right?
Yeah, massive, more than anything.
Yeah, because from what I want to try and do, right, is like because what you're saying, you're having this authentic, real experience where you're saying, well, hang on a second, trust is a big thing for me. That for Sean. I'm going to do that. Someone who perhaps thinks is playing more of a game. So you're saying, well, hang on, my emotions are being hurt here on the back of just playing a game.
Yeah.
But then the argument would be on the other side is this is an entertainment show. So you have to accept these things are going to happen.
Yeah, and I think I was very naive to that being in there. I went in and was me. I went in and I didn't play a game. And towards the end of the show, I started understanding. Okay, this is what it is. We'd all move past certain situations. There'd be a game to bring it all back up. So I'm like, okay, you start to understand, like, oh, okay, this is what they want. This is what they're looking for. And I definitely, I hold my hands up. I was totally naive to the whole gameplay. And maybe I should have played a game, but then I wouldn't be myself.
But viewers really backed you, right? Especially when that thing happened. People were sort of saying, you're great, you're amazing. And that's hard because then it suddenly switches. And so you go from the people's champion to then people saying, well, you're being this, whatever they think, what they call the words bully and a hypocrite.
The thing is, with me and Sean, we were in a very good place. But for me, it's hard, isn't it? Because how much do you give away about what producers have said and things like that? But with Sean and Lucinda, we were together. We were we were in a couple, we were happy, everything was going well. She actually said to me out of her own mouth, well, it wouldn't have happened if you didn't leave. So that for me is like, oh, so you'd only do that behind my back. So I didn't like that. That was why I had an issue with her. And also we were in a good place. She knew that. She had multiple opportunities to get to know him when we wasn't in a good place, and she didn't want to. Whereas with me and Scott and the Leanne situation, me, Leanne and Whitney were really close, really close. And when Leanne made the decision to go after Yemen, me and Whitney were like, whoa, hold on. What the hell? What's happened there? Like, we're a trio. So when Whitney said, you've laid the foundations here, every man for themselves, we was like, okay, fine. But
lies, lies, lies. She went after Scott before Leanne went with Yemen. Lies.
the production had asked me to go for Scott. And I was asking them for a bombshell. I was like, will you please just put a bombshell in? And I knew they wouldn't put a bombshell in until we'd run that storyline.
Explain that to me so I understand.
So I was called into the beach hut where we speak to producers, and they were like, look, we want you to go after Scott. And I'm like, what do you mean go after Scott? Like, me and Scott are friends. And they were like, we heard the conversation he had with you on the way over to the USA villa, but we can't air it. You're still mic'd, but the cameras are not on you, because we were traveling over. The USA villa's on the same land as the main villa.
And what was said?
And he was like, I want to be with you. I like you. Like, let's just couple up. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I didn't say anything to anyone, because obviously I was like, at this point, me and Liam were still really close. So I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I'm not even going to say that on camera, because you're going to look like mental. Like, I'm not, what the hell? So when he said this, I was like, so the producers had called me in and gone, we want you to go for that. Like, we think that'd be really good. Like, you and Scott, like, he's always flirting with you. He's always saying things to you. And I went, you're going to make me look mental. I'm not doing it. No, I was like, just put a bombshell in. They were like, oh, well, we don't know if we've got any more bombshells coming in. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. And I think with Scott, like, you know, everyone says he's a game player because he got hold of a phone when he went to the dentist and he started Googling, you know. And the thing is, I said I was going to come on the podcast and expose the truth. So here I am. He did say that. He went to the dentist and he got hold of a phone, or he was asking the dentist to Google things for him. He told me this, he told Kieran, and he told Helena. And
what did he say?
He was Googling the football scores. He was Googling the press. So he come in with all this information.
So he was basically saying,
press.
The press
he found out
narrative was.
Yes, so he basically had looked up who was a favourite at the time. And at the time, he said I was the favourite girl. So he was like, that's why they're trying to run this story. Because I told Scott and Leanne, I said, listen, production are asking me to go after Scott. I want to let you know that first. Leanne knew this, and so did Scott.
Wait, and the dentist was before Love Island Villa? I mean, the USA Love Island.
He went a few times. To the dentist. He had, I think it was like a cracked tooth, root canal. So he had to keep going back. So, right.
So hang on, just so I understand. So he sees that you're the favourite at this point. So, right. So in his eyes, in his mind, he's right. The favourite. Yeah. And therefore that's going to be a good storyline. Yeah. Because she's the favourite and I want to be the favourite.
Yeah. So I think he was very calculated, and he knew, like, if you were vaping out the front, it couldn't be seen. So there was when me and Scott were out the front vaping. Well, I snooze. We both snooze. And he laid down and he was like, yeah, I'm going to check when I go to the dentist. And I was like, dentist? He was like, so I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And he kept going to me, just give me 48 hours because I need to make the storyline look good so that I don't look mad. And then what I found out when we left the villa was he grabbed Whitney. This is so much gossip, by the way. I'm trying to make sense. He and Whitney were close, and he went to Whitney. I really like her. Like, genuinely, I really like Belle. I really like her. So it's gone from me being like, the production asked me to come for you, and he's like, oh, do you want to run the storyline? And I'm like, no, not really, but they're not going to put a bombshell in until we run this storyline. So like, help me out. I told Ian that. I told him that. And he said to Whitney, I really like her. Like, I actually really like her. This came after a conversation he had with Harrison. And Harrison walked in. And he went, who's the favourite girl? And Harrison went, Belle. So he'd said that to Whitney. And Whitney went, well, if you really like her, like, just go for her. And he went, I can't. So he made Whitney have that conversation with him on camera, saying, pick Belle. Because she went, I was trying to help my friend out.
Wow.
Then when Harrison come in, he then asked, he said, Belle's a favourite girl. And Harrison went, he then asked me, he went, I really like her, I'm going to make a move. And Harrison went, on who? And he went, Belle. And he went, well, at that point, I really liked you. So I didn't want him going for you. And I know all he cares about is public perception. So I told him the public just want him and Leanne to be together. He went, that night he went and got in bed and kissed her. So I was like, what? I was like, Harrison, what the hell? He went, well, I wanted to be with you. And I knew if I said that the public wanted you and Scott together, he'd have gone for you and I wanted you. So I'm like, what kind of gameplay is going on in this house? I'm losing it. I was like, losing it. And then he went and got in bed with Leanne that night and kissed her. And Sammy then explained everything to Leanne. She went, well, I know, look, it's fine. And then, you know, when Harrison came in, we had really good chat. And I was like, oh, I like him. And the producers wouldn't let me go for it. They wouldn't let him talk to me because they wanted to run this Scott storyline. And I'm like, but why can't I just be happy and move on with someone that I like? Him and Leanne, Scott and Leanne are back on track. I'm happy with that. And they were just sort of trying to push that storyline. I'm like, this is what I said to you. I was so naive at the playing the game. So when it got towards the end, I'm like, everybody's playing a game. This house is a mess. I literally at times felt like I was in a psych ward. There was so much going on. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know who to trust. I don't know where to look. I don't know. I knew Whitney and Sammy were my girls. I knew I could trust them for anything. And then I'm like, who's real, who isn't, what's going on? Are the producers trying to make me look like I'm mad? Because when my dad came on that screen, I knew.
Why did you?
I just can tell. I know my dad in his face. I was like, oh shit, they've done me dirty here.
One of the sponsors today is your sponsor everyday money partner. Now, you know one thing that often comes up on this podcast. It's chatting with musicians, actors, comedians. It's the smart choices they make every day. Ultimately, their lives. So not life-changing ones, the small, consistent ones too. And I've kind of been thinking, okay, about when it comes to getting more from my money. Making the smart choices don't have to be complicated as always. Sometimes it's just about getting more value from everyday spending. That's what caught my attention with Klarna. Because get this, you can get up to 11% cash back when you sign up for a membership. And with Klarna membership, you can also get up to £3,880 in benefit value over a year. For me, smart choices are often the ones that help having is a great place to start. Learn more, sign up at Klarna.com or the Klarna app. Trust me, you won't regret it. What's your relationship like with your dad?
My relationship with my dad, we are the best of friends, but we fight like cat and dog. Like, me and my dad are so similar. We deal with things in the same way and we do butt heads, but he's like my biggest fan. He's like my best friend. Like, I can go to him about anything. As I've got older, I started realizing that actually, hang on a minute, he's my dad, he's my best friend. I can tell him anything. Whereas when I was younger, I was like, oh God, he's going to have a go at me. He's going to tell me off. I don't know why I felt like that, but I did. But yeah, we're close. We're really close.
Because we asked your dad to write you a letter.
Oh no.
Because I think, it's right? But I think it's important for you sometimes to realize that there's a lot of noise that goes on the outside. What matters is what's on your inner circle.
Yeah.
So we asked your dad. He said this. He said, I just want to say how super proud I am of you, Belle. There's a true credit to you. From the time you were born until now, all you have done is made us proud. You have faced so many challenges in your life. You have overcome them all, from self-harming to mental problems. Strength from who you are has always pulled you through. My beautiful princess, shining as the time is now yours. You are, always will be in this presence with young women out there. And it's like so many women telling you how amazing you are. Ignore the negative. Always concentrate and focus on the positive. You've got this.
Oh, that's sweet.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that is really sweet.
I mean, I think sometimes, the reason we're having this conversation is that you have just come out of Stars.
Yeah.
And that is an entertainment show, right?
Yeah.
And lots of things happen with it. But you've received a lot of negative comments and a lot of abuse online, which is really hard. And I think it's really important in these situations like this is to remember that a lot of that noise that happens is not always that important. And what you have to focus on is the people surround you. And look how proud your dad is of you.
Yeah, no, I know. Like I said, Dad's like my biggest fan. I could do no wrong in his eyes. But for me, I think with the hate, when I come out, I don't care what people think of me. I'm who I am, and the people that understand me, I know they get it because I know they've been through it. So, I can only be me. I can't change. I've done so much healing work on myself and things like that. And, I'll get into that. But with the hate and stuff, I have struggled a lot with mental health, really, like through my teenage years. And I have people like every day, it's death threats. It's, why can't you just hurry up and die? Like, you've had self-harm problems before, just hurry up and kill yourself. Why will you not just kill yourself? I don't get why you wouldn't kill yourself. And it's like every day, people like, I'm not understanding why you won't do it. Like, do you not get it? You don't have a career anymore. You don't have this. You don't have that. Everyone hates you. Just die. And, for me, reading that, even though I've overcome a lot of my battles with mental health, that took me back to a place where I was like in that mindset. And I have felt like the world would be a better place if I wasn't here. So reading that was quite, I want to say, triggering for me. And I get it. You put yourself on a TV show, we all know what we sign up for. But a lot of this is done for entertainment. And I think people don't see that. And I'm not a victim. I know who I am. I know what I did. I know what I said. And that's who I am. But for me, I think with the show, what a lot of people didn't see is that the reactive abuse that was going on quite a lot. And especially with certain people, they're prodding and prodding and prodding and prodding and prodding and prodding and doing little things. With reactive abusers, often the victim looks like a bully or they look like the aggressor because people don't always see what they're doing because it's subtle and it's quiet. And then the one that's loudest looks like the aggressor, but it's not. And, you know, there were multiple times where I walked out and was like, I can't do this anymore. I want to go home. I need to leave. This is no good for me. I need to get out of here. You know, they clipped something where Lucinda was following me around. And I'm like, just because you put funny music over the top of that clip and make it a joke online and make it a meme, that doesn't take away from the fact that that's reactive abuse. You're following me around to get a reaction. You're trying to get that big kickoff. You know, and when I'm saying this to the producers, I did feel like I'm asking for help and you're not helping. You know, I was going to see a psych and I felt like when I see the psych, she would kind of assess my triggers. I'd go back into the house and then all of a sudden I'm placed in a situation where all of the triggers she's just analysed are in front of me. You know, so then I'm like, I don't know who to trust. I completely lost my mind, like completely lost it in there.
Okay, on TikTok, Pauline says, hey, thanks for coming through, Pauline and Belle, and BK. Couple of comments. Let me get... Oh, hey, woman. Essence Magazine. Our girl Olandria is a swimsuit model. Yes. Okay. If this is really what happened, why wait until now to say anything? I agree. I feel like she is trying to make us believe this is what happened. We saw what happened. Uh-huh. Seems like they teamed up with the story. Yup. It's messy, but he owned up to that and held himself accountable for his actions. I'm not sure who you're talking about. This is my chat. We have seen this before with Alan. Exactly. You say a whole lot of shit out the side of your neck, and then you act like you didn't say the shit you said and like you didn't just cause all this. If things went your way, yeah, it would be your truth. Exactly. Self-harm is really serious. Let's all love. Yeah, we get that, Pauline. And if somebody has an issue with self-harm, I don't know that going on a show like this, if you already had an issue with self-harm, why would you put yourself in front of millions of people that you can't control what they think about you? And you already know that this show has a history of pushing people with that over the line. So I don't know. It's like maybe you just want to be famous that bad. I don't know. I feel like there's a personal responsibility for a person that if you have struggles with mental health, why would you go on a show like Love Island when the history of that show reveals how people with mental health sometimes get succumb to the mental health challenges? It just, I don't know. I feel like she's really trying to create a nice little groove for her to be a victim, not what we saw her be. She was totally the aggressor. Scott's tweets. And also, Leanne already posted this morning talking about anyway. I love it. For Whitney to say, Galaxy says, people have only have the truth when they didn't get what they want. Exactly. Exactly. Now here comes the truth, right? I need to get my other phone and go look at Scott's tweets. You're right. Where is my other phone, by the way? I need that. Is it? Oh, here it is. Good. And now, somebody said something about it. Does Whitney, it says, check Whitney's interview today. It all makes sense. Her and Whitney, I feel like Belle and Whitney are in cahoots trying to rewrite history and narratives and try to make people not believe what their eyeballs saw on the show. Let's finish listening. She doesn't have a lot left to say.
I really struggled this time around with the show.
Well, Belle, firstly, I'm so sorry. I'm like, um, getting that abuse online is just horrendous, and
Yeah.
People online don't realize like how much their words stick,
Yeah.
and words can make a huge impact on someone. That's the first thing. The second thing I want to say is when you're going through that, I know you can go to a really dark place.
Yeah.
But it's really important you just keep moving forward and you keep
Yeah.
putting one foot in front of the other. And letters like that from your dad show how much you are loved,
Yeah.
and how much people care about you, and how incredibly amazing
Yeah.
you are. So thank you for being so honest, but also you need to make sure that this too shall pass and everything will be okay. You do know that.
Yeah, I know. And I think when I first got my phone back, I looked at a few things and I'm like, how have they made that look like that? You know, like, and I think people, a lot of the thing online is, oh, watch her come out and blame the edit. I'm not blaming the edit. Like, I stand by what I did, you know, like I stand by that and I stand by my reactions because I know they're valid. What I don't stand by is how much they missed out. You know, like, I'm not media trained, I'm not PR trained. So what you see is what you get, you know, and I think with the whole, this bully narrative, I'm like, how?
Yeah, he wants Scott.
How have we got here?
And explain just so I understand. And you know, your dad said it in the letter.
Yeah, Belle, trying to change the narrative, rewrite history.
So if you can take me back, so we can understand exactly, because
Yeah,
you are fiery, Belle, and you
yeah,
find it hard to keep your emotions down. And some people just go, why can't you hold your emotions in? Why don't you be
Yeah.
more, relaxed in certain situations? So what have been your experiences?
the thing is with everyday life, like,
Exactly, Mellows.
walk away. Like, if I get myself to a point, you know, everyone gets irritated, they get angry. And in my everyday life, I get in my car, put my music on, I go for a drive. I don't get to that point in my everyday life. You know, it's very rare that I would get to that point there. Yeah, and in there, I can't just walk out the front door. Sometimes the front door's locked. Sometimes you can't go outside because they need you to film. You can't walk away from it. You are stuck facing your triggers head on. And, you know, for me, like, as a teenager, I really, really struggled with mental health and
Depression?
yeah, bad, really bad, you know, and self-harm was a really big thing for me. Like, I hated myself. Like, I just hated myself. Like, I always felt bad. Like, you know, just always, I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I was. I always felt like I was really different to other people and people never understood me because I always felt my emotions so deep. And, you know, like, I don't want to hide that. Like, I don't want to be ashamed of that. I don't want people to put me in a box because of that. You know, like, it was really difficult growing up. It was like, I hated it. I hated myself. I just hated it. And, you know, getting into that self-harming it was almost like punishing myself. You know, it was like, you deserve it. You deserve to feel pain. Like, you're not good enough. You know,
It's okay, pal.
you know, like, you don't deserve to be happy. And I don't know why in my mind I felt like that. You know, I couldn't tell you that. And, you know, I just never felt like I deserved to be happy or to feel good. And I don't know where that came from. You know, maybe that's something I've got to figure out. But yeah, you know, it was tough and it was a really long road for me. Like, I would get better, I would stop doing it, then it would start again. Things would trigger me. I never knew how to express my emotions. I never knew how.
Okay, real quick, you guys told me that Scott tweeted. He says 3 weeks to cook up a story to clear their name, and this is the best they could do. The problem with agreeing to lie is you're always going to slip up. Should have just got their TikTok friends to say it and take the heat. And that was in response to Belle. Scott found out I was favorite girl when he went to the dentist. Belle was the one who moved on him, mind you. Whitney, Scott found out the public wants him. Scott found out the public wants him with Leanne when he went to the dentist. Can they agree on a story and do another podcast? Whitney and Belle's podcast came out on the 1st of April for a reason. April Fools. Okay, so we have to watch Whitney's interview after this? Okay, because they definitely, and then they both, I don't like Whitney and I don't like Belle because they both pretend to like Leanne, but obviously don't like Leanne, but always insert her like they're a trio. Oh, me, Leanne, and Whitney were really tight. Me, Leanne, and Whitney. Me, Leanne, and Whitney. And these two bitches, Belle and Whitney, are very anti Leanne, in my opinion. I believe Scott. They came up with all of this. Scott is got the name. He doesn't care about Whitney. Yeah, he doesn't care.
To talk about a problem. And I know, like, sorry,
it's okay.
It was a lot. Like, I'm someone that feels emotions really deeply. And I overthink everything. Everything is so deep. Like anytime I talk to someone, it's a deep conversation. I feel things really deeply. And I never knew how to speak about my emotions. So when I felt like shit, I would never know how to express that. I would never know how to speak about that. Like I would take that out myself. I don't know how to deal with this. And, I never really understood. People always say, oh, the cliche, a problem shared is a problem halved. And people go, oh, yeah, whatever. No, it's the truth. There's a reason why that's so widely spread. Because as soon as I learned and I forced myself to talk about a lot of my issues, I was like, oh, how am I letting my mind get to this point? What am I doing? What the hell is going on? And, people online are like chronically telling me I need therapy. Like, I've been to therapy. I have had therapy, and for me, yeah, I do laugh things off. I make a joke of everything that upsets me. I do. Of course I do. Like, what am I going to do every day? Sit and cry and hurt? I felt those feelings. I've grown from that. But there were points when, I was younger and like I always say to people, I've been through the depths of hell with my own mind. Like I've seen the darkest parts of me and the horrible bits that you never want anyone to see. Like I've seen that in myself. And, I've worked on them. And it's like, I've been at that point where I've sat and thought, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I'm not worth being here. I don't want to live anymore. I just don't want to be here. I think for me, I had a few things that happened to me, and I was like, if this is how my life's going to be for the rest of my life, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. And going through that at such a young age.
How old are you at this point?
I think it started around 13, 14.
So young.
Yeah. And, I didn't understand anything. I didn't know my own mind. I had no life experience. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't tell anyone. So it wasn't like anyone knew. I think I don't even know how I ended up doing it. I think it just became a thing. And it was like when I'd hurt myself, I'd be like, oh, I feel better because now I've punished myself, or how I express them. And I think when people see this loud, this big hurricane character, they're like, oh my God, she's mental. And I'm like, well, no, actually,
I don't believe anything she's saying.
Expressing how I'm feeling. That's part of my healing journey.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You were for so long. You for so long you held all your emotions in.
Yeah.
You didn't know how to express them or get them out, and that resulted in you, not behind yourself.
Yeah.
And so now, thankfully, you do release them, but sometimes you don't have control over them because they're just so out there. At least you are expressing them rather than holding it in. Because when you hold it in, we know what happens, and that's not great.
Yeah, and like I'll hold my hands up where I'm wrong, and I would definitely say, I'm not going to apologize for being who I am, but I will say, yeah, I could work on that. I could definitely work on channeling that. And in my everyday life, I have worked on that. I walk away from the situation, I go calm down, I listen to my music, I relax my mind, I do my meditation, and I come back to it. In there, I don't have that luxury. So that was really like a raw, unhealed, 20 steps back version triggered Belle, and I think that's what people forget. It's like, yeah, I've done that healing. And when you're put in that situation, I can't walk away from it. I can't go meditate. I can't step out of it. Like you're filming. I can't just get up and walk off. It's continuity. It's this, it's that,
You didn't have your coping mechanisms.
No. And that's why I'm like, all the healing work I've done over the last, my 28, from 13 to 28, however many years that is.
5.
Right. Well, the last 15 years, the work that I have done on myself, and I went and see a therapist that did a lot of hypnotherapy, and he always said this to me: when close your eyes and all the voices in your head that are kicking off and overthinking, he was like, imagine it's coming out of a radio. He went, now place that radio in the corner of the room, put your hand out and turn it down. And I was about 17 when this happened, and that was the first time my mind had ever been silent.
Wow.
I didn't have the time to do that in there, and that's been something I've done for however long, for all these years, and that's kept me sane. And then it's like that's taken away from you. The triggered feeling from the past relationships or boyfriends, being hurt, extremely triggered from that. The lying to me, the cheating, the this. Okay, they're not as deep. Like we're not in a 3-year relationship. You haven't just slept with someone else. No, but it's those feelings come back. I don't have time to sit in my bed for the morning and go, you know what? Let me think about this. Let me understand my mind. Where are you feeling? How do you feel? Calm down. This is fine. That's going to be okay. Like I normally do. And you don't have that luxury or that time or that space in there. So for me, really, it was tough. And
it's a boiling pot of emotions, right? There's no time to reflect.
Yeah.
It's called hot house.
Yeah, literally. And it just got to the point where I was so triggered. I was so like, every time I'd sort of calm down and try and get myself to that space. I remember at one point I was taking like half an hour at the snooze door, at the fake door. I was like, I'm not going in. I don't care. I want you to send me home. So I'm staying out here. And that was when I started calming down. As soon as I calmed down, it'd be another game, load of questions that trigger me, and it would just spiral like that. And the main reason I ever wanted my platform was to sit and help young girls and guys that are going through it, and to be a voice of understanding for them. Because when I speak out loud, I'm like, I sound mental. Like this doesn't make sense. But I'm like, no, you're actually fine. This is normal. Like how you feel is normal. You feel like this because of this. And you know, like I started a live series at one point and was helping young girls who were suicidal.
Yeah, why did she even go back?
All the time chatting with them, and that was all I've ever wanted. So that's yeah, 100%. And I think when I first came out, I was 21. I didn't really understand it. I was so embarrassed about telling anyone about it. I didn't want to be judged because there's that thing of, well, if you've self-harmed before, you never work in TV again. That's not true because I told the producers about my history of self-harm. They knew.
Wow.
You know, they know that. So you don't have a stigma around you just because of your past. You can grow from that.
You mentioned this, like, what other things have you been doing to take care of yourself since you left the villa?
I think for me, I've tried to not put too much pressure on myself. I mean, I was dealing with a lot in there, and I think my body just started shutting down. Like I was too much information. Sorry, ladies talk, but I've never missed a period in my life, and I did in there. My body was literally shutting down. Like I didn't come on, so I've been trying to keep relaxed, stay at home, sleep as much as I can. Because obviously in there we don't know how much sleep we get. We don't know the time, you know. And I've been trying to just relax, get my body back to normal, take my vitamins, sleep as much as I can, not get into it too much online, you know. And I've took my time with podcasts because I needed to. You know, I didn't want to speak up beforehand because I wasn't in the right mind frame. And even now, you know, I'm still a bit all over the place. It's things, you know, I've dissociated a lot from what happened in there. I've forgotten a lot of things. I'm getting like flashbacks to it. I mean, the first week coming home, I was waking up having nightmares that I was still in there, panicking, having anxiety attacks in my sleep.
It feels like you have PTSD.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, right?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, like, you know, when I come home, I see my mum and dad, I just burst into tears. And I was like, I'm really struggling. Like, I need help. And I think for my mum and dad to hear me say I need help, I never ask. I never want help. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'll be fine. I'll do it on my own. I'm fine. I'm fine. You know, and I like to put a brave face on. I don't want anyone to worry. And I came home and I was like, my body is shutting down, mum. Like I'm in bits. Like I'm struggling. And it was just a mess.
Guys, I'm just going to stop this today, which is the Department for Work and Pensions. Now, when it comes to work, it's tough like that. You're watching this and like, or perhaps you need, or maybe you're sending out application after application and getting rejected without any feedback whatsoever. Okay, it can be draining. I get it. And staying motivated isn't easy. But here is the good news. DWP's job help website has loads of tips to improve your job search.
They brought the games up to reignite it, to get the rows. So, you know, like we were all fine. We were chilling. You know, like you have to remember that this is an entertainment show. And that's why I do think it's really important that Love Island put a statement or a warning before the show airs. Some things are set up for entertainment purposes because they are. We are just characters in a TV show. You know, and I think for the public, you know, if I have triggered anyone with my responses, because, you know, other people have certain triggers they might not like hearing shown, you know, I apologize for that, you know, and as someone who is on TV, you know, I will try and do better to calm my temper, but I'm going to say that lightly because I love those bits of me, you know, and I apologize to people that I have triggered if I've upset anyone in any way, you know, 100%, but I'll never apologize for being me. Yes, I will always, forever, for the rest of my life, be working on myself and trying to improve because as we all should. But those parts of you guys, the parts of me that you guys hate, I love. I love that I'm fiery. I love that I'm outspoken. I love that I speak the truth. Like, I don't care. I love that. And for anyone leaving negative comments, you know, like, just think about it before you do it. If you've got an opinion, yeah, cool, fine. Happy for that, love that. But the destroying the way I look, destroying who I am, my character, is there any need for it? You know, how would you feel if that was your son or daughter? I don't always get it right, but I do everything with a pure heart. Everything I do with pure intentions. I never mean to upset anyone. You know, and there's so two sides of me because there's this part of me that's very like, I'll make a joke, you know, online. I'm like rage bait the rage baiters, you know, like rage bait the haters. People keep calling me and Harrison mother and son. So yes, I'm like, in honor of Mother's Day, I just thought you should have a little photo of me and my son. You know, like we laugh at the hate, and you know, that's another thing that I forgot to say how great he was around all of it. I mean, he has been an absolute rock to me. Like I would have been in a lot worse way when I got my phone back if it wasn't for him. And you guys actually didn't see a lot of that in the villa. He really had my back and he stood by me and I couldn't have asked for better. Like he was amazing. And you guys didn't see that. He stood strong for me when I couldn't stand strong for myself. And I think in my whole life, I've probably got about 3 people I can say that about.
Wow.
So even in the holding villa when we left, how amazing he was. And with hate, like he'll call me, are you all right today? Like, are you struggling? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Can I help? So how he was painted on his first season, I'm in utter shock of how lovely he is and how helpful he is and how he got painted as this like misogynistic, like male pig character. And he's so the opposite. Like he's so love the girl, all for the girls. You go queen, you go sis, you know, like his mum and his sister are really strong women. So it's like, He's used to that, and he's, you know, he loves women, like he loves the girls. Yeah, yeah, things are going really well actually.
Are you official?
Not yet.
You posted on Snapchat. He said,
He's my biggest troll, you know that. He's such a troll. So he basically, someone said on his Snapchat, have you told Belle that, have you guys said I love you to each other yet? And he was like, nah, she keeps saying it to me, but I just don't say it back. Such an awkward conversation, right? Obviously being sarcastic. So I was like, right, seeing as he's trolling me, I'm gonna actually give you guys some evidence. So yeah, he always says, like, not in a way of like, oh my God, I love you. He hasn't said like I'm in love with you, whatever. But at the end of the phone call, he's always like, oh, I love you. What are you doing? Love you. What's this? You know, like in a little bit of a jokey way. I think he's trying to sound out if I'm reciprocating that, you know, so are we there yet? Are we not? But yeah, like we've both got a lot of love for each other.
well, thank you, man. I know how tough it must have been for you, like at the moment, especially coming out. And I'm sorry that you've been through all of that. Firstly, no one should ever go through that. Thank you for being like so honest about your past and present, and the fact that you're using your platform for good. That's the best thing you can do, because there's so many people that can probably listen to this conversation who can relate to you in so many different ways. The fact that you're going to help those people, applaud you massively.
Yeah, and you know, I think definitely from this, once my mind is completely back to normal and I'm right, you know.
Okay, that's enough of her lies and BS. Now we're I just heard a lot of I get to be however I want to be. Everybody, and I found out that I have triggers, and the show triggered me a lot. But if I was triggering to other people, they just need to stand it. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because I'm going to stay me, but other people need to not be them, because it triggers me and makes me feel bad. Anyway, and then how she was like rewriting history, pretending like that, and then she flipped the timeline. She said she pretended like she didn't go after Scott and let everybody know she was digging Scott before Whitney sent Cher and everybody after Scott. And they're just flipping timelines. But I just found out that her little minion Whitney, her best friend, has an interview this morning also that is just getting released. 5 hours ago. So this interview got released 5 hours ago. We're gonna go ahead and let it play. I fast forwarded everything a little bit. Um, and the reason I'm gonna play it back to back is because I feel like these two bitches are in cahoots. Whitney is in cahoots with Belle against Leanne. Whitney is one of those type of black girls who other black girls, she's not, she doesn't protect them. She'll protect all the white people and all the white ladies, but black girls need to fend for themselves because they're just as strong as her. That's what I'm getting from Whitney. And she will lie and bend. She doesn't even look in the right direction when she's making up stories. It's just like she's constructing something in her mind whenever she talks. And I'm just like, over her. I don't like Whitney. I don't like Belle. I didn't like how they were moving on the show. I know it's not Friendship Island, but you don't have to be like that when you're on there. Pretend like it's Friendship Island, but you're moving totally anti-friends. And Whitney tries to pretend like she didn't send people after Scott, and did not. She never supported Scott and Leanne. I have always said in many a chat and on my channels that the energy I got from Whitney towards Scott is that Whitney wanted to be gobbling up Scott's peen. Whitney wanted to gobble Scott's peen all to herself. And if he was going black, she was mad that it wasn't her black she was going to. And Belle wants Scott all to herself too. And Whitney and Belle commiserate about wanting Scott to themselves. Yeah. So let's listen. Um let's listen, because it looks like some of Shelley's I mean not Shelley, but the people's this notice is unclear. So just me saying that I don't like Belle and I don't like Whitney and what I feel about them has somebody's panties in a bunch in here. And fuck you. Your girl sucks dicks. Your girl is a freaking coward. And so is her little friend Beggy Belle. How about that? How about that? My opinion isn't bullying nobody, but you feel bullied because hit dogs holler. She's a weak sauce bitch, and her little friend who we just watched is a weak sauce bitch. Okay? So we're gonna go ahead and watch another weak sauce bitch try to rewrite history. And just like Scott already said in his tweet, you guys took almost a month to try to rewrite history. And now you're coming out with your perspective interviews. And but it's all because you're baggy pick me bitches that didn't get picked. Yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are. And you guys who are fanning over these bitches, you're doing it wrong again, because you need to go tell them to be better people so more people want to collaborate with them, instead of being here and try to get me for harassing and bullying because I give my opinion, which is what my portal is to give my opinion when I see a pick me baggy ass bitch. So let's listen to the lies fly out of her mouth. Disclaimer, we're about to hear a lot of hot air and lies and gaslight. Watch, mock my words. Mock.
This kind of vibe. And I'm just like,
Mock.
Mock. That was like a lot. That was, here you go. Yeah. I feel like in terms of like safe space opening up, I can think of a better sis. I never want to be in a position where I'm offloading on someone. So I'd rather make a joke out of it. I think everyone has this exceptional standards for influencers, like we don't be the same blood. But I'm just going through the flow of life in the best way I know how. We get into it. Yeah. Like, you know, our relationship off cam, you're playing my face behind me. Now I look like the crazy one. Yeah. Like, but she started it. In fact, I'm a victim. I still think I don't know who I am. Maybe I'm confused. God.
Just a second.
How many times he changes?
Let me see.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Wumi Bello Show. Today, I'm sitting down with the one and only Whitney Adebayo. Now, since her return from the Love Island villa, her name has been everywhere. There's been a lot of conversations, a lot of opinions, a lot of thoughts. And today, the aim is to strip everything back and have a very real, very honest, very raw conversation with her, as well as get to know her personally on a deeper level. So I am very excited for this conversation. Let's get into it. Righty. How are you feeling? I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Just overdue. But remember when I said to you, I feel like more was gonna happen. I was like, for me, no, I feel like more was gonna happen.
No, you literally
like,
did.
Yeah,
Maybe just not yet.
yeah,
Maybe just not.
not.
I do feel like, I think the other day, so you called me the other day and
Yeah.
we had that. I really loved that conversation. I feel like that was my first time hearing you sound so reflective is the word I want to say in that conversation. And like your whole sentence that you wanted us to have this conversation where, you know, you can just allow yourself to like be free and allow yourself to be heard and allow yourself to kind of just speak on everything that, you know, everybody is speaking on right now, but for them to hear your truth in it also. Yeah, I was really happy to hear that from you immediately. I was like, oh my God, absolutely. Like, we have to do this. And I feel like I was more so happy that you even felt the need to like call me and for us to have that conversation and for us to now finally be sitting here doing it. I know. I feel like obviously it was supposed to be last year. Yeah. But I think last year was heavy, but then shit, this year Heavy too.
I know, but it's the beginning of the year. It's still get lighter.
So much lighter. Hello, so much lighter.
I just feel like yeah, I feel like in terms of like safe space opening up, I can think of a better sis. So yeah.
No, I'm really happy. I feel like people have seen a certain side of you, but then there's also like this other side of you that I don't think that you've allowed people to see just yet.
No.
This more reflective and this more like, I want to say delicate, because you sounded like, I literally was like, what is happening right now? Whitney? I'm like, Whitney, is that you? What is going on? But this like delicate side, it literally is the guy. But with that being said, how are you feeling? How are you doing with everything that's kind of been going on these last few weeks?
Yeah, I feel like, do you know, I'm not new to this. I'm new to it at this rate. Like, it's just like, story of my life at this rate. So I'm fine. I have to be fine. So just, really.
Yeah. Okay, I feel you. So I think just to take it like a step deeper with like people dissecting, you know, different things, different moments, different clips, different conversations, all of that kind of stuff. you see that, I can imagine that's not like an easy thing to see. And we're going to talk about every element, every area of it all, but just like on a loose one, like what goes on in your like,
when I see it online, I think obviously I'm naturally an impulsive person.
Yeah.
So
do you say naturally you're an impulsive person?
Yeah, I'm an impulsive person.
Yeah.
So obviously I would be like, wait, hold on, let me clear this now. And I can just like, bitch.
Yeah.
And then I just end up deleting it. I'm like, oh,
maybe I shouldn't say anything.
Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Maybe I should just, it is what it is kind of vibe. So just go.
And then in those moments, where's like your safe space where you go? Who do you speak to? Where are you seeking to kind of find that comfort, to stay grounded?
Definitely God. I just be in my bed. Really enjoy it.
All right, so before we get into anything else, I really want to just give us a minute, like slow things all the way down. This whole conversation, you're going to hear me say, I want to slow things down. I want to like take it all the way back to before, you know, we met Whitney, this woman on Love Island, and like everything that's kind of been taking place. There was a little girl, there was a young babe, there was a woman who was, you know, trying to figure things out. So take me back to, I want to know the origin story. I want to know Whitney as a child. What were you like growing up?
I was actually very shy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so shy, like to the point where in nursery, like for me to even talk, they had to bring Liz in the room, like my sister. I was so shy.
No.
Just I was a book babe, like just homework, books, good grades. Yeah. And
I'm so surprised by that.
I know. Like everyone around told me I'm naturally shy, they're like, no, you're not, you're just shy.
Would you say you're still naturally shy to this day? Really?
Group settings, I know, but like solo when I'm like spotlight on me.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, whoa,
what is happening?
I hear you. So I'm cool now. I'm just shy. I'm the youngest in the family. So
how many siblings do you have?
4 siblings.
So you're the youngest. And what was your home? I'll take you into like the home environment. What was that like? Was it? I can imagine like there's 4 of you guys in a house. Was it loud? Was it vibrant? What was the energy like?
I need to remember. I was the youngest, all big personalities, and single parent household. My mum and dad split up when I was in primary school, and then someone was always working, and my old sister basically like raised me. I know he's on manager. So,
what was that? Just going back a little bit, because with what you just said about your parents splitting up in primary school, do you remember that period, like kind of how it happened, what happened, and if there was like a drastic like shift in the household or anything like that? Was it just kind of normal?
I think that was probably the first time I saw my mum break down. She had to come into school, crying, picking me up. I was just thinking, what's going on? Then obviously my dad, he had a baby with another woman. And I think that just broke her really. But
how did that affect your relationship with your dad? Or even your perception of him?
Well, I don't even know, if I'm being honest. I was just raised to just, you just get on with it.
Has that always been the
like you got to be strong. Like, it's got to be strong.
Are you Sorry, you guys, I got to plug this in.
No, I would even kind of Is it kind of like your first time thinking back to it?
Yeah, never actually thought about it.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you feel like thinking back to
it? Shit. I'm not saying shit then, but it's just what it is. Everyone goes through shit in life. Like my story is not exactly extraordinary.
I have to stop you there because I feel like that is so unfair on yourself and so on. Anytime anyone says that to me, I'm always just like, your story is your story. Everybody goes through things, and like everything that everybody goes through is just as weighty because it's their story. You know what I mean? That like we can't downplay and be like, oh my god, like everybody goes. Like my story is not special just because it wasn't like 59,000 million things happening. It's still heavy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I'm happy like you're talking about it. I feel like I can even tell. That's why I was asking like if you're here because I can actually feel that if they sound like it sounds like this is your first time like reflecting on on that period.
Yeah, well, in my family we don't really talk about things that's just happened or like we're not emotional.
Yeah,
we're very like solution based. So if something like happens, it's just like let's move on. Next, where's the money?
Whoa, that one hasn't even started yet, huh?
Do you feel like if you had a conversation about, you know, your dad, like that whole setup, like your mum, the dad, the change, do you feel like it would have been helpful for you, the younger you?
Probably at the time, I would say. Because obviously, given the life I've stumbled into. So I kind of, in hindsight, I'm grateful that I was raised to be strong. Because a lot of people can survive what I've been through publicly. So it's like my mum almost knew. Do you know what I mean? So as much as I feel deeply, but I've just been raised to like be strong and move on. So
Yes, Olandria is influencing all the girls' cheekbones with the blush placement.
And has people knowing you, all the things you kind of experienced.
yeah,
If you weren't living this life, it was just like Whitney, which is not even if you weren't living this life, just Whitney as a human throughout the world, having a moment to kind of sit within the emotions that younger you would have had to like go through or would have had to suppress because there wasn't any room to like talk about it. Do you feel like that would be beneficial for Whitney? Like not you get what I mean?
100%. I feel like, yeah, as a child, I was definitely robbed of emotional support, and that's why I'm not very like good at expressing how I feel. It's kind of like, I wasn't raised to be emotionally expressive.
Yeah,
that wasn't my story. So, well, yeah, I guess like, what child wouldn't want that? But that's not what I got. So you move on, you go on with it.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that's really beautiful to hear. I think knowing the way that even like me, like with seeing the way my one who raised me in London, she is like, the way you're describing how this like being strong and you don't show emotion and whatever else was very much like what I received. But very young, I remember like going to school and always making like the very big decision that I was going to be like the opposite of that experience because I'm like I don't like the way this makes me feel. Like I don't like the fact that like, I'm suppressing things. Like I don't like the fact that I just there's no sense of just like like this, all of these emotions that I'm feeling like just suppress it. That I would go to school and that would be like my playground of like over emotional expression. Like I'll be running around like, are you okay? I feel like today. You know what I mean? And I think that was like my in a way like my coping, not even coping mechanism, but my defense to like stop that from that being like the way I live my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I can see like even before we get into all the bits, I can see how, and I think anyone who's listening can see how not having that room as a child to really like sit in a lot of the emotional shifts that would have gone on, especially like when you think about like your dad and that whole breakup, how that would like shape or show up in the woman that you are today in the littlest of ways.
Yeah, I feel like my coping mechanism is laughing. I just laugh. Like just laughing's fun.
Do you feel like laughing is, for lack of a better word, like do you feel like the laughing will be sustainable? Like for
No,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
laughing is definitely not because not everyone receives it in the way that you want it to be. But I just whenever I feel uncomfortable, I laugh. Like, it's just in my head, obviously, definitely not funny. But I think it's more of a easy way to digest what I've been decided to digest. If I never want to be in a position where I'm offloading on someone, so I can't make it like ha ha ha, because I guess it's just easy for me to and for someone else to take. Laughing heals the world.
To some extent, I think balance heals the world.
Yeah,
because I feel like laughing only. I think when you're speaking, I'm like, I get this like vision of how do I describe this? So like a massive bottle, like a see-through bottle, and that bottle is constantly being of things that's being poured into the bottle, and you have to like use the bottle, and that bottle never really has the room to be like released and for it to like fill something. You know what I mean? And I kind of see that as you. That like there's been so many things that occurred before we knew you, before everything. You know what I mean? That there's just been a lot of things, a lot of emotion that's kind of been poured into this jar. Jar is a better word. That's been poured into this jar. That's not really been. It's not been released. Like it feels like it's all like clogged up in there.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's like
Maybe we're about to have an interesting time today. That's how it goes. That's not how that's all emotion. No, I think I would love like for you, just as your friend, as someone who actually cares about you, like I would love for you to in this new chapter. It feels like we're even at the end of the conversation before we even get into it.
I know.
Sorry, I'm just kind of like because I'm just like I feel like a lot of people would just won't really believe this in a way, but also really appreciate hearing this. Okay, so I also just want to know, like, lastly, growing up, what kind of life did you imagine yourself living? Like what were your dreams? What were your aspirations at that point?
Well, growing up, obviously I come from a single household and was a jogger. Like she worked all the time. And it was weird because obviously growing up I thought that was the norm. Yeah. It was like I was young and I grew up seeing it, so I thought that was the norm. So obviously I knew that. I as a child I thought like that was a woman's like role, even though obviously women have different roles today. But I just thought, oh, like I need to go to work, I need to be the provider, I need to. So I just I wanted to be like my mum. And obviously, when I got to school, I studied computing, and I wanted to be a creative director. But the goal was always just be like a provider. I didn't think about being married and shit. Like no, it didn't even cross my mind.
When did that start? Or has it shifted?
Probably not. like, I do obviously want to get married and have a husband. But yeah, it's just not. I've just, in my head, my mom's always taught me that regardless of a man, you need to be good. So you need to be the smartest, like aesthetically, you need to be on point.
Wow.
And yeah, body type, like standards are high. I don't think it's a reflection on her. It's more so like, it's like, you know, because my mom was raised in such an intense environment to survive. She was in survival mode. So obviously, like, you raise your kids with the same kind of mentality.
100%. Yeah.
So obviously, back when, in today's society, you have to be somewhat exceptional. So yeah, I was raised at a high standard.
Would you say, was there a moment where you kind of, when you've raised in some way, you're living your life thinking that it's just like, this is normal. And then one day, I don't know if you've had this, there was like one day when you went, oh, wait a second, this is just how I was raised. This isn't the reality of how things are supposed to be. Like, for example, what you were saying about the woman being the breadwinner, like just get your ish together as a woman. Did you have a moment where you were like, oh, wait a second, there's a different way, or like this isn't like this isn't necessarily like the norm?
I feel like there wasn't a moment, but it's when something's instilled in you. It's like, obviously I'm not saying I can appreciate different roles in different households. The core, that's something you don't really shift on, and something that takes time for you to shift on. But no,
I got you.
I still have somewhat of that mindset, and it's more so going back to survival mode. It's more so like you just have to. You can't rely on that. You have to be good. Like no man's come to say, fucking French in. Like,
Let's get it together. I want to shift the conversation to identity versus perception. I think one of the things that people have said about you is like you right, and very sure of yourself in the way that you talk in your demeanor. Would you say that is an accurate description of yourself?
I think that's inaccurate. I've always said, like, I think confidence is. I don't think anyone in the world is 100% confident. How can you be? I do just put it on. Of course, you have to put it on. Like, so I think I am, obviously, I know that there are some facts. I know that I'm pretty. I know my body's clean. I know my hair's clean. That's cool, but it's not something that you have. It's a physical wear. So you're always battling with your confidence. Like,
Hey, one of the things that I really loved about our call the other day was what you said, and I hope you can let me know.
Yeah.
What you were. Open it up. Okay, you were like, he was like, you really, you yourself, you're still trying to understand yourself. And I really respected that. I was hearing you say that. I think that was the moment I really like, was like, I want to take this conversation with you like super, super seriously, because for you to recognize that in the midst of, when the world seems to be like on your back so much, it's just interesting to me. So talk to me a little bit about that realization, like in that moment for you.
I feel like that's always been what I've thought. And like, I'm all here for learning, growing, and obviously, like, I'm nowhere near the person I'm supposed to be. And I know that's a job in itself. But when you're catapulted into a guy, one, and after the year, I was over. Like, before this, I was just a regular girl. And no one's judging when people are judging you on the masses, but you're, unfortunately, like, you've landed here. So yeah, they have a right to judge because it's a position that you've been put in, that position that you've decided to stay in. So of course you're going to be judged. It's like, I think when I first come out of Love Island the first time, I was like, it's really like, and no one was really like me, so there was no blueprint for me to follow. As if, okay, if I do this or this, I'll go. I very much just wanted to do myself, and I feel like my content creation is all about growth, and not saying I'm the perfect influencer, follow me. It's more so like, I don't know where I'm going to be in a few years, but I would love you to come on the journey with me. Like, we go through heartbreak. Like, we don't, everything that I've gone through publicly, I'm not the first person to go through in life. So when it's expressed online, and obviously people have their opinions, I'm just kind of like, I'm sorry, you lot warriors. Because I like the warriors that's never ever gone through the things that I've gone through. It just so happens that mine's on stage.
Are you saying that in relation to you understanding yourself, that like you're literally in real time figuring yourself out?
Yeah, like women perfectly. Yeah, I'm literally like going through normal girl to woman. I guess I'm a woman. Girl to woman. Woman. I mean, woman to auntie. But I'm just going through the flow of life in the best way I know how to. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm gonna like gonna be good times, bad times. Yeah. But because I'm on a stage, it's just scrutinized all the time. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything like out of the ordinary. Yeah. Like, yeah, I went for a breakup. Oh my gosh. Wow. Who hasn't been for a breakup?
Let's even take it to the Love Island experience. That first experience, obviously, that's the first we see you, we experience you, we feel you, and like you said, I do think that you did come in quite a complete experience for sure. So take me to the moment where you were even applying. Like, what made you want to go on the show in the first place?
I just turned 25.
You were 25 when you went on.
Yeah.
Damn. Here's me thinking you're 22. No. Calculations wrong.
People be thinking that I've been there for time. No, I'm fresh meat, man. But no, I was 25 when I went on. You know, midlife crisis. I missed before, but I was like, I haven't seen anyone me before in that show. Like, it's given. Like,
When you say that, like, what do you mean?
I'm quite like, let's be one big go. Like, I'm gay fabulous. But I can articulate myself well. But obviously, co-teach and that. But so I've never seen anyone like me with my personality on the show. So it was kind of like, that won't make sense. That won't make sense for me. But then I hit 25, life crisis. Like, my life wasn't great. Like, I was living a good, cozy life, but I was bored. You know, when you hit 25, you're kind of like, wait, is this all life has to offer me? No, surely not. So I thought, you know what? I'm in a position where I can be like, okay, let's try a new experience.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience.
Yeah. What did you expect? What did you expect from it? Did you think in your mind, were you like, I'm probably going to go away with this? Or,
babe, I was
like,
like,
I'm just here.
It's enough.
Yeah.
It's my season. I didn't actually find someone until the end. I was actually just there for vibes. But it was well received. And yeah, I was shocked.
As in, what, you were shocked at being well received?
Yeah. Like, the response afterwards, I was shocked.
Why?
I
Why do people like me?
Yeah, I was confused. Just like normal. But I don't know. Yeah, but I didn't never expected that response. No way.
How did you adapt to that response? It's a whole new world that you've been thrusted into.
That's the thing. I feel like I was still seeing who I was before. But no, apparently you've got to be PR now. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. There's so many rules in this industry. And obviously, naturally, I don't like following rules. It's like, I'm never a rule person. Like, so coming into the industry, I was like, rules and things, appearances and things. Basically. So, I don't believe my eyes. I was thinking, wait, do I really have to fake this? And do you know what it is? I feel like when you hit a certain age, it's kind of like, I remember like before I come on, I've changed so much.
Before you went on?
Yeah, like I've literally, in terms of like just grown up. And it got to a point when you're kind of like, God, how many times do I need to keep changing? I'm tired of changing. So in this industry, I was so stuck on, no, I've changed enough.
I want to like pause there because I want to understand that. Can you tell me maybe one or two things about you that you feel like you changed into before going on the show? Before that you were like, that by the time you came out or by the time you kind of were thrusted into this life, you were like, I'm adamant that I am not changing.
Yeah.
Like, I am stuck in my ways. And what were things that you got leading you to change about yourself that you were like, nah?
I think at that point in time, I definitely was probably at my peak confidence. And at that point in time, I was definitely sure of myself. I thought I was sure of myself. And also at that point of time, I was content with life. Like, I remember obviously like was like, I'm just gonna delete Instagram. I don't need this. Like, why they like? Because I didn't even understand the influencing content creation was. Well, I've done the show. Like, like let me just delete that. Yeah, I swear to God, because I only had 400 followers before. Never used it before that. So I was just like, oh, I'll just delete it. And then my manager was like, no. I was like, but they're being mean. Let me just delete it and like go back to my normal life. But I think that's what happens. So yeah. So after that, I've never read so many opinions about myself. And when you get to a point in life, what are like picking you apart and saying you're this, you're that. And you start to think, wait, shit, am I actually what they say? I mean, you're battling with perceptions and your mind. This is a mind fuck. Mm. So I was just like, whoa, this has confused me now. I don't know who I am now. I still expected to go out on stage and perform. Mm. But it's like, how does one perform when I don't even know who I am? What's it called? Can copy her out. Do this, do that. I'm thinking, shit, can I catch a breath to even figure out what I want to do? And yeah, you're learning on the job. And yeah, I still think I know who I am. Not in this space. Like, you're still figuring it out. Yeah. And I think that's what because maybe because I'm very confident and I know what I'm doing. And I'm confused. Maybe I'm confused. I'm actually confused. Somebody help me.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
another confused. It's always the confused bitches.
like on the podcast and shit. Like, Han,
It's always these confused bitches.
I'm figuring it out. If you can't tell, then I'm back on Love Island. Like, been confused. Yeah, I understand, and I think again, like I feel like that's refreshing. Yeah, I can definitely understand like from that perspective. Especially when you go on something, you think you know yourself, and then you come out, and then you get all of these things. You're like, wait a second, you got to I don't know, wait a second, like, do I want to actually? I think you've segued us really perfectly into like, this current season where you actually do go on Love Island. Mm-hmm. Initially, when I saw you were going on Love Island, I said, "Excuse me, so Whitney, baby, what is going on?" No, so it was actually interesting when I was listening to your sister. When I heard you kind of explain or say that the reason you went on there or you decided to go on there is because you wanted to go back there to kind of find that fun side of yourself again. Yeah. So tell me about that. I went back on the show because I felt like the first time it was like we were just saying a whirlwind of confusion and not knowing who I was. So in hindsight, I don't know, I'm trying to unpick my brain here, but in hindsight, I was just like maybe to find like the girl that went on that show before. Maybe I just got to
the confused ones
and the ones because all my friends were like, I was just, you know what, eat some with my friends. Yeah. And I think last year, I just looked at it like, oh, it's a hot girl summer or winter. This right, but for us it was a hot girl summer. Yeah. And what can be worse? Like, you're at least I'm on holiday, I'm getting paid, I'm with the girls, and obviously Scott, and we might find things. Bring it on. A win is a win for me. Like, so yeah. And then you also were explaining that you intentionally wanted to go on there to stay away from drama. So walk me through like, even that conversation with yourself, because I feel like when you have that, like, you know, when you go into something, you're very sure about like your intention. A lot of things you do, you're kind of like a lot more cautious. Like, you kind of go into things like more caution. You're watching yourself. So was that your experience, and also why were you so adamant that like I'm avoiding drama at all costs? I think after doing Inside, like the general backlash was giving like she's drama, she's this and that, and I just didn't want to feed a narrative that was already running. And naturally, I'm not even a drama girl. You know me, I just stay at yard in my bonnet. Like, what's my own? But it seems like whenever I go on reality TV, it just finds me. Or like, so yeah, I was with my sister. She said to me, "If what's it called? When you find yourself wanting to like say more, like, what are you gonna say? Because you be talking too much." I said, "I'm gonna charge it to the game. Like, we're gonna just charge it to the game." Yeah. So when you hear me say charge it to the game, it's not like just being. I'm just saying it is what it is. No, don't respond. Just charge it. And yeah. Do you feel like you succeeded in that desire to go back into the villa to bring back the version of yourself? Yeah. Talk to me about that. I think because the first time it was like, for example, I didn't have any industry friends. Like, I'm very much a homebody. I just stay with the friends I grew up with. Like, and then along the way, like, I've obviously built some friendships. Yeah. So it was nice to experience that unique because it's such a unique experience with them. Actually, like, going in, I felt safe. Now coming out and still seeing them and stuff, I still feel extra safe. Because you're like my people. Yeah, so now I'm like, oh, you lot are really my people. So I feel like I didn't have that unit coming out last time. Did you say so? Yeah. Because you had like Catherine, you had Ella. Yeah, but you know what? So many things happened like within the future. It ended up crying. Whereas this time around, I don't see that happening. Yeah. Okay, got you. Yeah, I don't see that it happening this time around. So okay, so nice. I want to kind of dive in a little bit more into kind of all the things that's been taken place. I want us to do it slowly and very gently. I think you came off the show and this time round, and you have
people analyzing, movements, people, clipping clips, and there's just a lot of conversation around you, which kind of like ultimately kind of contradicts your initial reason for wanting to go there, to stay away from drama. So mentally, like that initial realization that, wait a second, I am back in this hat of drama. Like, what was that initial realization? Like the moment you kind of registered that. Because also on your call with your sister, she didn't tell you that, like she did mention something, but I was confused because I'm living it. So I'm just like, wait, hold on. I've seen the drama. And my name ain't on it. So what drama? I kind of started to clock it when Maya come in and said to Yemen, like, I think the question they asked was, how do you feel about being with a girl that's always in drama? And then, Yemen obviously defended me, and the boys were just like, no, Whitney's not even in drama. So I was confused. I was the first time to that makes sense. Did you find yourself replaying some things that you think might have allowed the audience to consider you as like part of the drama? I swear to God, I couldn't see why. I was actually confused. And then, obviously, the second time it was asked to me, still confused. I didn't see it until I come out. And I was like, oh, I know what's going on here. Yeah, I was just like, wow. What was wow about? How the truth can be like misconstrued, like heavily misconstrued. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, wait, what? And then obviously, like, I'm speaking to we getting into this. Yeah. Child. Well, the general consensus of my drama is me not liking the act. But it's one of the main. That's like the main thing for me. Like the gag is like me and Liam were so cool in the villa. I saw that you were saying that you guys were like you, her, and Belle. We were like gang. So seeing it, like how it all played out with the whole Scott situation, I was just like, obviously, like when I was living it, I just thought I was back in my friends. There's a lot of things that happened off cam, but obviously it didn't get shown. So, I just my friends, means seeing it seep into my reality. That's like, okay, no, this. Wait, what do you mean when you say back in? Like who are you back in? Who are you talking about? Long story short, it all stems from. Let me think. Actually, it all stems from initially me saying that I don't think that Leanne is Scott's type. Yeah, but that just comes from me knowing Scott, and that's just what I thought. Maybe I came in. No, I know this man, so I just didn't. So, well, because one of the things you said was about so what was going on in your mind? What does that mean to you in relation to Scott? Well, I didn't know Leanne before this, but obviously sometimes we run the same with girls. And then I'm seeing it as, I don't think Scott can afford my life. So I'm just assuming we're living similar lifestyles. And I don't know. And I think because in the game, like Shaq, I don't know if it was Shaq, but Shaq asked us, like, what do we prioritize? Looks, finances, or something else. The answer was finances. So when the whole game thing, when me and not now I remember his name. But when me and Scott was talking about types, I was just like, because but sure. But in the beginning, I didn't think that would be his type, and that's just me being real. Because me, I'm a lifestyle babe, and and we have mutual friends, and from what I've seen, it's all you guys are similar. It's given we're cut from the same cloth. Yeah. So I just didn't think that, but maybe I was wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's my initial thing. But I've known Scott for years. I've told him, so I didn't think judge it. And then obviously, moving on later during the show, once Jan had ended it, obviously, Scott likes Belle now. Because from the audience perspective and like from what I saw, it didn't really show. It didn't give that like Belle. It very much gave like Belle was trying to get him to give her an on stage when working out with Leanne or on a little bit fragile with Leanne. Babe, no. Scott likes Belle. And that's why he asked me the question of like who would the
who would I go for sometimes?
So what did we miss then as the audience? Like what weren't we
We
shown?
missed the context of him, and conversations, talking to everyone about me, about.
At what point was this? Was this after Leanne had?
Yeah, this was in between it. So, yeah, this was in between it. So because it was in between, obviously things got cut out to feed certain narratives. So when Scott asked me, it's because he's been that Leanne to Belle. So you need an instigator. So I said, all right, cool, I'll back it. If you like Belle, I'll back it.
That's what he said to you. What was the private conversation you guys had?
Lies.
So I'm backing it.
Lies detected, bitch. Bitch. Wait, this does not sound like anything that happened. Oh my gosh. Just be a real bitch. What happened to charge it? What happened to all that stuff? I detect a lot of lies.
It gets more
Okay, but wait, hold on, because I want this to be like really clear. So
Yeah, it's not adding up at all.
Scott had a conversation with you, and he was very aware of the public perception that if things, if he changed too quickly, it might affect.
How's that going to look? Going from Leanne to Belle.
He said you should support him in that pursuit.
He didn't actually say it,
Yeah.
but him coming.
See how she even now is telling her story in different. She just said he said it. She just said that Scott basically asked her to go with him so she could be the villain because he knew what it would look like going for somebody on a dating show. That's another reason this doesn't sit well. They're literally on Love Island. You're literally there to connect with another person in the other person's face without anybody supposed to catch an attitude, go around the villa and yell for a week, chase bitches down. You're not even supposed to have to endure any of that because you get to talk to who you want to talk to based off the connection. There's no deterrent to doing that on a show like Love Island. Now, Whitney is alleging that Scott didn't feel like on a dating show like Love Island, he was allowed to go after another connection. Even after Casa Amor. That doesn't make any sense, bitch. Lies. Lies detected.
To sit down with me to have a conversation about who he should choose. Obviously, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But
what?
I don't know. I still feel like obviously you experienced it, but from what I'm hearing, I'm like I can still imagine a world where if Scott is saying to you, if he's just like, who should I choose? That might not necessarily mean that he's thinking like public perception. You know what I mean?
Cam, he says it.
Oh, there's moments where you guys aren't on camera as
Yeah,
well.
like days on camera, like off cam, he literally said, "I'm going for Belle." So when he's asking me on cam, who should I go for? I didn't even want to answer because I already knew something's cooking here. This is fishy. My head's going to a mistake.
Okay, I want to, because for us, right, obviously we're just watching, right, so we don't know how like the routine goes. This is interesting. We don't know how the routine goes, right? So you guys have, so is the conversation that you had with him after like one of the things he's already said to you privately, like, when you guys are on camera, you get what I mean?
Yeah, and so basically when we're always on camera, it's 24/7 film. So off Scott, Belle and Scott were the only single people. So what it's to stop these people to go out. And Scott like he likes Belle. I was like, if you think about the issue, it's not going to be one to Belle in the end. So when that gateway opened, conversations and to Belle. So it was Belle at that point in time that he wanted. So when we had that conversation, because we having conversations about you, Belle. So then now what I'm you asking me, who should I go for? Belle.
Lies.
So he's already like admitted to you already that he's going to go for it.
Yeah, I'm like,
Tyreek's playbook. Tyreek said that Scott would share, but didn't want to wait or the boys and girls separated. Yeah. But Whitney's saying that they get to have, from what I understand on Love Island, maybe it's different on All Stars. Maybe they let you get the phone at your dentist office and you can keep going to the dentist for a cracked tooth. Maybe they let you do that. Okay? Because I thought that everybody was separated too. I thought they were very strict about who you can talk to and what you can say off camera. I thought they told you to shut the fuck up if they see that you're talking and it's not camera time. But Whitney saying that Scott just got to do whatever he wanted and got to run amok at the villa, and he could go to the dentist and check the phone, let the other lady tell it. And now you're having all these side conversations and you're willing to take the heat. Listen to her what she says. She just spent, we're how far in? We're 45 minutes in, so halfway through this interview. And she just talked about how hard it was for her, how, how she has to look on here and how that really wasn't it, and the narratives are hard. But then she's going to play with Scott in a narrative to make her head go on a stick. It's lies. Her and Belle are, oh my God, they're in cahoots.
Getting access to a phone. And then he found out the public wanted him with, asking me, who should I go for? Oh, Belle.
But he's already like admitted to you already that he's going to go for it.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool, Belle. And then this is where things get messy. So Scott had a root canal. And because he had a root canal, Scott ended up, what's it called? Getting access to a phone.
Yeah, they think we're stupid.
Yeah. And then obviously back went crazy, not because of the 360. It's more so like, I don't know if you've not heard it, but that's what she was like, the position, not going with like the emotional. Or I know the truth. I know the truth. Like, yeah, because things happen. Then yes, obviously he's told Kieran, pillow talking with Sammy. He's told, no, he's told Sammy. Then Sammy's told Leanne.
Told Leanne or told Belle?
Told Leanne.
Told Leanne what, that public wants her and Scott together, or that Scott knows that the public wants her?
Like something just on like a warning thing, like, and then she's going to run it up. I'm thinking, all right, if you're not running it up, this is the thing that I was the last one to find out about all this because he's not let me tell you what's it. Like, so obviously Belle's in the knowing now, and it got to a point where now the house is in the knowing, and it became a big thing in the house.
So even on some moments where you guys, I remember one of the on the table, and questions were being asked.
And that brings me to that. So obviously I'm not believing Belle. I'm thinking, oh, you've really got crazy now. Like, I'm thinking, what? So that's why I asked the question. With the public, like Scott with Leanne or Belle, it comes from that whole situation. And then it came back to Leanne, and I was like, oh,
that doesn't
I
feel like that question is
that timeline.
How do I explain this?
The timeline is off.
You were saying about the storyline, and it probably wouldn't, work with the storyline, but
the timeline is off.
That question doesn't do anything for Belle. Like, it doesn't prove Belle. It's not a situation. What do you mean?
I asked. We're talking about what happened at the dentist. Why does Scott 360 so quickly?
So we wanted to see if that's actually the truth. Want Leanne and Scott together.
Otherwise, I've no business answering that question. So I asked the question. That's why in the scene, I was in the scene. I'm like, oh, there you go, Scott. You're welcome.
Like, Scott would know what you were talking about.
Yeah, like, and that's why Belle's like, oh, he knows like the answer. He knows the answer already. Like, there are clues in obviously some things that don't get.
So have you and Scott had a conversation like post the villa on all of this? Because like you saying this like is, as your friend, like I can imagine him watching this and thinking like, why are you airing me out?
Scott is actually. Do you know what? I gave it beans. That's what it's reality TV. Like, we made a great show. It's entertained. I didn't think anything like all those bonds and relationships would change anything because I just thought it was just reality TV all of a sudden becomes reality really quickly. So yeah, we were all fine until we got our phones. Once we got our phones, it was. I remember we were in the car on the way to airport, me, Aim, and Leanne and Scott, and then obviously I'm scrolling. Oh shit! Like Liam, we're in Stanwalls. She says, "Oh, I said we're in Stanmore, how we can fix this." She says that my friends said to my friends, I don't know about that. Like, okay. And I'm like, Scott, like, are you not gonna like stand up for me? And then he said that he's going to one. Like, it's not a talking thing. It's like, that's my time. It's something I need to speak about. Like, I'm like, cool. And send him like things, listening to him, and then he's like, oh, he's completely ended yet. I'm gonna do it. Like, and that doesn't end up. And wow, they just, well, he said, yeah, no, like right now he can't post me of Leanne's thing, stands or whatever. And same thing, like
Leanne's tendency as well.
um, the editors said, like the editors. Meanwhile, we're in a situation knowing what's happened, and I backed your take. Like that wasn't even real. What edits?
When you say you backed her, like what do you mean?
The whole like, and or because the public wants them together. Leanne knows, and she said that she's going to run it up. So it's not like a thing where like I'm just my drama and our Stanmore lots stuff. So why am I going?
Yeah, we call Big Bull Galaxy.
And
Yemen needs to run. This girl is so full of shit. Yemen needs to run. Look how she's looking down. She's looking for the story that her and Belle went over. She can't keep her timeline straight. It's giving very inauthentic. Why is everybody now supposed to protect her when her and Belle were the ones running amok? But now they need protection from their own actions, and they want the people that they um used and abused. I feel like they used Scott and Leanne and abused them and their friendship. And now they're out here talking about, oh, look at the racist stuff I'm getting. Bitch, you need to tell Yemen to tell the people to shut the fuck up about your racist stuff. Why should Scott say anything on your behalf when you didn't even try to keep him with the girl he's with right now, making a lot of problems for him and Leanne already on the way out? It's a lot. Like all these people, all these villains becoming victims and then wanting the people who they were villains towards to become their saviors. It's a whole fugazi. I'm not on board with it. This is a whole lot of bullshit. And I hope the people from Love Island, I hope the producers from Love Island, if there was an NDA, I hope they go after Leanne I hope they go after this one and Belle, because if somebody is faking a cracked tooth or has a cracked tooth and a dentist is giving somebody their phone, then for them to come back and be like, oh, I saw the phone, and I don't agree with any of this. I just don't. And I would never, if I was Scott, I would never say anything in her defense. Ever. Let her eat all of her cake.
when the public and it's just given no, we're not just like
Yeah, such deja vu.
That was that was okay. Yeah. I want to like dissect.
This is giving the Speedy interview with Ace all over again. Just we saw and heard one thing watching the show, and now this is the equivalent to Alan going over to Speedy's house and saying that Nick told him something different than what we heard him tell him. And so that's the reason why. And this is just a whole mess of an interview. Nothing good will come of this for this girl. Nothing good will come of this for her wigs. Nothing will come of this for her freaking collabs that she wanted. Neither for Belle. No, neither one of these two girls are getting anything. They're about to get the Clark edit. Then nothing. No deals, no nothing. Straight to the stables. You're not getting nothing.
Some parts of it. I'm literally like, where do we go? Where do we actually start? That was very heavy. Okay, I want to.
And I don't think that this lady interviewing him, this Woomy lady, is buying it. She's asking very good questions that are pushing back against this false ass narrative and rewriting a history. Usually you have white people trying to whitewash history. This history is getting Nigerian washed by oh girl, I don't know if she's Ghanaian or Nigerian, but she's doing some washing of the history, cuz that's not what the fuck happened, lady. But this interviewer knows what's up. Look, she's like, lost me. Lost her. She's trying to help her get back on track. Mm-hmm.
I want to firstly just like clarify on your end if you, as much as you can say, or you guys
Doesn't believe her at all.
What you saw and
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about adding Nigerian. I thought
you see
she's not Nigerian. Whitney isn't Nigerian. Is she Ghanaian? Is she from Ghana or is she from Nigerian? That's the only reason, because, you know, in America, we say people whitewash history. That's when they want to take out that there were slaves because white people made slaves. And so now they're trying to act like everybody was just an unpaid immigrant looking for work. Okay, so that's whitewashing history. And Naja washed. Yeah, Naja washed, if you will. Thank you. It's Naja washed history. And she is Nigerian. Okay. Nigerian don't whitewash out history at all. This is Whitney problem, not Nigerian. Listen to me when I'm talking from an American perspective. We call it, whoever the person is redoing the history, that's the term of the washing. So out here, when white people rewrite history, it's called whitewashing. If a black person rewrites history, it would be called blackwashing. She is specifically Nigerian. Therefore, I called it Nigerian washing history. Now, I don't know. It looks like over in the TikTok, they're getting very offended that I said that. But look, you're going to have to get over it and charge it the way your friend says. You're going to have to just charge it because I said what I fucking said. And that's the context that it gets put into. Everybody gets put in front of the history they rewash. Okay? So it's going to have to get charged. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's Naja washed history. She's trying really hard. This interviewer doesn't believe her. I don't care if you're sitting crisscross applesauce to make you try to be more believable and down to earth. No, bitch. You're lying. All of this is lies.
Leanne and Scott's relationship, and you're like, no, there's also a level of sincerity in this. They do actually really like each other. And you know what I mean? Like, are you saying that you don't actually see?
I've not seen them. Not in group settings. I've not seen them. But to be just how I feel like how you start something isn't how you always end it. So
Yeah.
It's just how it started to speak to them.
Okay, let's take it back to Leanne a little bit and let's talk about that relationship, because I can tell, like, even from the way your whole costume, like your you know, like, actually, this has actually really hurt you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I want to see your understanding or like your perspective on some of the people in Leanne's relationship, right? The other stuff with you and Leanne. You've made it clear that you, Belle, and Leanne, that you guys had like a whole, you know, dynamic that wasn't really displayed. I think there were some moments, even with what you're saying, that if you were like, we were, you know, me, Belle, Leanne, we were like gang, we feel like how much gang could you be if you're my friend and you're speaking like this to me? So I want us to replay like certain specific moments.
Yeah.
Thank
Because
you.
understand as well, there's being glitched, for instance, but there's also like, this is actually just a standalone moment that we can't. You mean this is your words, right? So I'm gonna play it.
That was something about you lot egging it on. Like, I was egging, trying to calm it down. I was listening. I'm just saying. I know Sammy, both like me, hotheads. When you're fueling them in the beginning, I wasn't. I've literally been calming them both down. Right? I'm not saying literally I said, why would you give your energy over that? I said that multiple times. I'm not someone who likes to see them anyway. I said, what's the point? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you've got this to me. You've got this to me. Yeah, and it's not what I think you actually to say. I said, well, man, what's that got to do with anything? Okay, is that your first one? Yeah, I think one of the biggest conversation online is especially after you had that moment with your sister where you're talking about, you know, you said that you guys, you know, you guys are super close, this, that, and the third. How close can you guys really be if you're able to kind of pass these painful things kind of like in that moment? Well, I think it's because, like I said, me, Belle, and Leanne were a trio. So I understand that me and Leanne are black, but if you like know Belle, like I'm not gonna lie, she's a bit raggo, like she's like vibes. But because we're a trio, and I know that Belle is a hothead. She's been through a lot of shit in her life. The last thing Belle needs is someone egging egging her on to come at Lucinda. Because I'm already in a situation where I'm trying to shield Lucinda from Belle and Sammy, because at this point they're really
protecting Belle.
When Leanne is like egging them on, and mind you, yeah, I can be a hothead, but I understand that I'm a black girl on TV, so I can't give it too much. So as much as I know where I stand and like how I'm supposed to move on TV, certain things that I can't afford to do. I can't afford to shout. Like my head will be on the stake. So in this situation with Lucinda, Belle, and Sammy, I'm not saying Lucinda's right, I'm not saying that Sammy's right, I'm not saying Belle's right. But what I do know, just thinking ahead of time for them, two girls on one girl shouting, regardless, Lucinda's like a quiet girl, so you won't see what she's doing. But because they're so loud about it, it doesn't matter if they're in the right. It's always going to be perceived way. And I know that's not how things are going down in the house. But even I'm just trying to look at that, guys, this is going to look crazy. That's why I never really got involved in that drama, because it was I can't even afford to get involved. Do you know what I mean? So when I'm seeing like Leanne prod, like not prod in the beginning, she was like very much like, you know, saying, yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, you guys are right. And I know if someone's telling me, yeah, Winnie, you're right. You're right. I'm giving it beans. I'm going extra hard. I'm just like, yeah, and no. And I thought you and Lucinda were friends. So why would you want to hype them up to give them ammo? Like, no. I feel like I understand, like, the sentiment around like, you want to get around but yeah, you know what I mean? That like, even regardless of like what Leanne is doing, that in that moment, because if I'm putting it as me, if I hear my girl like something that I'm currently going through in a moment when we're having when we're you know when we're not getting along, like in a moment when we're rivaling or arguing, or even rivaling arguing, and she pulls at that, I'm like, there's no way you could be my friend. You must hate me, because where did that come from? You know? I think it came from the fact. I think that was probably like Leanne's, I don't know, first or second time shouting. It's like there's a lot of misplaced anger towards me, because the way she was talking to me was, I was just thinking, oh, why are you shouting at me though? I feel like there's these situations where you could have just stood up for yourself. You could have stood up for yourself. That's time you actually want to shout is at me. So yeah, was it wrong? Yeah, that was wrong. Okay. But I feel like it just came from like, I've had your back in here, and the first person you're shouting at is me. That was your first hearing Leanne shout at someone? Yeah, because Leanne's real chill girl. Doesn't raise her voice. But do you feel like reason for like yeah, no, we were both giving it beans for sure. But yeah, because I think that was like one of the, and I'm probing ethics. I want people to understand, like, you know, you're not necessarily a standard, like I've given what I said, because it's not that, you know what I mean, that like on level, regardless of putting out that type of situation, putting that, her in that way. Yeah, no, I could admit if roles are reversed, if Leanne put on you like that, you would have been like, I could admit could admit that was wrong. Yeah. But to be fair, in the moment, I think we ever spoke about that moment. So I don't even think that drama, I can see that was drama. Yeah. But we never ever spoke about that situation. Like, you guys just kind of, you know what? It's funny. It's actually funny that you say register it. I was actually thinking, like, how do you guys like have like what comes after that kind of moment? Like, is there a conversation? You guys didn't see this all. We never spoke about this in all. Yeah, it's like shitting a relationship. It's already happened with gaming.
Oh, I thought that was like a producer thing. So that's the thing about producers could, like, the producers are not there to tell you what to do. They guide you on what to do. And everything's still a choice. So they can say, like, oh, have you thought about this? And they're here for guidance. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? But essentially, when it comes down to your actual actions, that's up to you. Got you. And so you were already like, we're not really right. And it wasn't even that. It was more so like beforehand. Well, I already know, like, when I really like to my feelings anyway. And I feel like, obviously, at that point in time, I was speaking to Leanne. And, oh, how's it going? With the aim and X, Y, and Z. And I was just like, oh, I don't really want to talk about how good it's going because I know you guys are in, like, not ideal situations. So I don't want to impose that into missing situations that you are going through. Like, say, we still want to know, like, what, like, girls. We still want to know happiness and whatnot. Obviously, I'm like, okay, like, if you're sure. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I really like it. And I see it going somewhere. I'm just like, yeah, like, he's my kind of vibe. Like, really happy I met him. And yeah, the next day, yeah, she balls it. I love him. It's not funny, but it was just more so I wasn't mad about the action because at that point in time, I don't really know Eamon and she's trying to get over Scott. So I'm kind of like I don't really know this man, but I was.
I hope this interviewer asks her the question of, well, didn't she pull Yemen because you encouraged Scott to go with Cher instead of to go back to Leanne? Please, somebody ask the question. Please, God. Because this bitch is on my nerves, God. I can't listen to her freaking rewrite this shit. Lord have mercy. She's making me feel like my eyeballs don't work. She's making me feel like I don't hear correctly because what my eyeballs saw and what I heard her do on the show, she's acting like that shit didn't happen. Oh my God. It's annoying.
Just hurt that she done it to me. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's not about the boys' principle. And yeah, when she done that, I think, yeah, our relationship shifted.
Do you think she noticed that shift in your relationship?
No.
Like, we've never spoken about it.
Because I think maybe that was even, I guess maybe subconsciously, we can say that maybe that's why you had so much of him in that argument with her. Like, part of it.
I don't think it was intentional. I think that I see that we're not like 100%. I'm not as lenient with grace for you. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely spoke to her in a way where, like, yeah, we're not friends. And I think it was because for me personally, it solidified that we could be cool. But
what was you? Okay, you were in the house, right? So what was that conversation with her and you? I mean, like, because from what we watched, it was
At its finest, Miriam.
how things would be at Whitney. You know, okay,
yeah, but for me, it's not.
it's not about.
It's not about.
I'm sorry, I'm going here again. The number of circles she's talking in, she may as well have been sending me those emails I got in the early 2000s telling me that somebody from her country needs to cash a check. Okay? Because she is really trying to spin the whole web of lies and deceit and get me caught up at the fucking bank with a check that is nobody's in this country. Okay? This is a lot of spinning, bitch. A lot of spinning.
The conversation. Yeah. So you took it. But knowing that you just forced me to tell you how much I like him.
Can I challenge you here and say that in the same lens? Then can we say the same? I know that when the whole situation started, it's worse than what Lucinda said. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But you also were the person who was like, when Scott asked, like, okay, I do think that she's a better fit. That if you're that angry at or upset with,
right, Tiffany,
Leanne, but also at the same time, you know, Leanne was always in the way that you pulled your heart out to Leanne about this guy. Leanne's also pulled her heart out to Belle and you, not necessarily you, but like more to Leanne. If I comparison to Leanne and Belle,
no, because what happened there was, this is the chronology of what happened. Leanne told Leanne about how I felt. Leanne about how I about Yemen. And then, Leanne was supposed to pick Connor in the kissing game. And then she took him.
How do you know she was Connor? She said
She one side, he switched to Yemen. Cool. Then she took him to the garden. Cool. Yeah, or something halfway, something like that. Then Belle, obviously, we're a trio. Belle's pre that, and she's like, it's already changed for me because it's not about that, it's the principle. I just wouldn't do that. Like, for example, like when the whole thing happened with Jess and Millie, I said, like, if Jess ran out on me, we wouldn't be friends. So it's not even about, what's it called? It's worse for me because, quite frankly, I don't care. When the whole Belle situation, Belle and I, we've already freed it. Like, oh, this is what you're on. So I've already like checked out in terms of this is my sister for life. Yeah, she's my sister. You know, there's kinds of types that you have. Like, you know, who your friend is, who the person you confide in is, you know, who the person you do business with, like levels of friendship. So I wouldn't want Leanne in that I'm going to confide in you, friend.
Do you think in that moment when Leanne had that conversation with you about going to Paul Yemen, you would have been open in another you pulling him that makes me a little bit uncomfortable? I don't know.
Well, I feel like unfortunate for me, I'm the kind of person that I don't ever want to tell a friend what to do. I don't ever want to tell you how to move with me. Just act or do what you have to do, and I'll do it accordingly. I don't feel like the kind of friends that I have in my life, it's a loyalty. It's just like standard. Like I just
She never talked to Leanne about this. That's the other part. She told Leanne she was fine with it. She tried to be a cool girl, like the error code on season 7, Love Island USA. All the cool girl, oh, just charge it. I don't care. I don't care. And the whole rest of the time you complaining about some shit. She's too much. She's not a good friend. You can tell your friend, yeah. She's the problem. Exactly. She's an error code. And she's definitely given error code right now. And she's just such a freaking liar. Why is this interviewer not asking anything about, you told him not to go with her the first time. You said go with Cher, and then you said go with Belle, and then she went and pulled Yemen. Like the whole timeline's out of fucking whack.
I need to tell you and like read the code of conduct of this is how you be a great friend. Like I'm just like, no, you move how you want to move. And
she never liked Leanne.
I was like, yeah, of course, like, no, I don't want you to, but it's selfish. It's well within her rights to do that if that's what she wants to do. I just met this guy. I can't tell you no.
But you are.
Would consider you just got to charge it. Like, but I think once, yeah, Belle, I think Belle as well.
In terms of maintaining that loyalty.
Yeah, because once, this is what it was kind of like, because we were, yeah, once someone almost like breaks a rule, and then Belle just.
So the trio was her, Leanne, and Belle. And Leanne didn't know that Belle had been fucking Scott from day one. But Leanne's the problem? Really, bitches? Okay.
Whereas like, oh, everyone's doing that. I'm single in the house. I'm acting. Like, I mean, it just set like a everything got mixed. Morals got mixed. Sisters got mixed. Boys, it just messy. At that point, it got messy.
So today, where are things at with yours and Leanne's friendship?
Well, in terms of that situation, like once Leanne was back with Scott, and then I was with Yemen and Belle found Harrison, it was calm. It was kind of just given like, oh, we've done the reality TV stuff. Now let's go back to the fun. I'm ready. Like we're gonna eat them. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Then yeah, it didn't happen.
And then you lost. You lost.
Was there ever a conversation between you guys, as in you, Belle, kind of confronting Scott on like, you know what the reality is? Like, why aren't we being honest about why are you making Belle, look crazy if this is the reality? Was that kind of conversation? Yeah, after the show, yeah. Belle camera. What's he's I don't know how he was going to yeah, there's nothing to say. I get it. Like, I feel like Leanne coming off of her season, yeah, like, it wasn't the best experience for her. So now it's out to love for her. And I get why you'd want to obviously maintain that streak. And for standards of your friends, even though we don't have I get it. I'm not going to say I understand it. I thought it would be at my expense.
Didn't answer the question.
It's just one of those ones.
Yeah. Belle didn't need any help.
Out the window, I think. Scott's always been there for friends for years, and like I would want to obviously maintain that streak. For your friends, even though I get it. I'm not going to say that I understand it. I just thought that it would be at my expense. And yeah, the same thing with Scott. Like, it's just one of those ones. Do you think you can have the same friendship again with Scott, or do you think that's out the window for you now? Out the window, I think. Scott's always been there for friends for years, and like I just thought he would have. I think yeah, I didn't expect this. I didn't see it because quite. I normally suss things out, but I don't think. No, I wasn't prepared for this, and I kind of feel dumb, like very dumb.
Yeah, now AB's the victim, exactly.
We had was where's my phone? I can just read it out. But no, this time's just changed. Yeah. Do you think that that's based off of like primarily the stand wars, or do you think that's also based off of them seeing like something, so say for example like the argument, or what? Or do you just think it's more so the stands that one is what they have against the stands? Because when I first come out, it was very much giving. We were on the phone, and then I was like, I'm only involved. Me, him, and yeah, I need to meet up and all the edits. We're gonna do it all together. I was just like, Scott, I'm not gonna come and with you lot to go through the edits till we lived. We were there. We all know what happened. What does the edit matter? How can that take away our reality? We were just there. Like, you should know how you feel about someone. How when we left, you didn't feel away. How can you look at something and feel away? We were all there. So, right. I want to okay, let's segue a little bit into some of the things that have gone on. Are you comfortable? Yeah. You look cold. Cold as hell, babe. Do you want to put the heater on in this place? Do you want to put this on you? No, I like my favorite. Shit. She said, let me show my leg. Right. Okay, so I want to just talk about some of the other things or things that kind of taken place after. One of the concerns or the moments that people have been talking about a lot is your interview with India. Yeah. And I want us then, we have that moment down. Everybody kind of initially, when they saw the interview, it was the immediate reaction of like, why is this dynamic like this? Why is being talking to India like this?
Went to the University of Ace.
There was maybe like a balanced argument where some people were like, the way India asked that question wasn't right. It kind of loaded, and then there was the other argument of like, no, but Whitney's response, she's being mean, and this, not this, and whatever else. It was like a variety of conversation around. But what took things to the next level was actually, for me anyway, from my analysis, was like your conversation with your sister. Like, I Actually, before we even go into that, let's start off. Let's take it back and just speak about the moment, like that conversation between you and India. Like, what was it? Was it for you? Was it the question, like it feeling loaded? You know what I mean? Like, what was it for you?
I think it just goes back to just being in the industry, and I get it. People like to come on camera and give us skills and whatnot. You know, it's behind the scenes, nicest to me. I get on camera. You've been treating me throughout the years to now on camera to we're doing that. Clearly, I'm not built like that. Like I can't fake it for cameras. That one, you already know we're not that cool off the scenes, and then people, when you do like, people think that oh yeah, it's your job. Yeah, great, you've got a job to do, but you also have what you have the power to alter the questions as a presenter. You're forced to ask questions that you don't want to ask. And if you are going to ask questions, you actually also do have the power to. So it was just given like with the whole drama question. Considering in my head, I'm literally confused about what drama. Like genuinely, I've got like, you know how our relationship is off cam, and then you're asking me this triggering question, and with no context, I'm just like, what drama? So yeah, I already said it was off. No, genuinely, what drama? Like, what drama are we talking about? And yeah, that's where that comes from.
I think the thing that kind of took it to the next level was obviously when you were on your podcast, you're talking about you could, you know, in that
Yeah,
you
all
being
season.
professional with her, or not her, the whole situation there.
Yeah.
That was you being professional, and the way with as much as or I can understand like, with this situation, you know, you guys don't have the best time off camera, and it's as to why your reaction might be the way you know it came out. But I think that comment in itself, with that being the thing that took everything to the next level, can you like in hindsight, can you see that? Can you see why that comment from you would have taken things to the next level? You might need help.
Yeah.
Yeah. You seen it? Yeah. Let's play it. Let me before you answer. I'm just gonna play it.
I'm saying that me being professional was me not responding. What about your drama?
Right.
Because that was me giving you grace.
Right.
Because I could have looked off the whole thing.
When you make a comment like that, I feel like it gives people that room to come in, that lane to kind of come in and say, "Oh my gosh, she's looking for a moment, or she's picked out the worst thing in someone's kind of using that as an attack."
Worst thing that's
If she's going through if she's going through her situation, yes, the way she asked you the question was loaded. In you, like,
I didn't say it. Then afterwards.
no, but that's the point. The way that comes across, it doesn't speak well on your end because like because you if you know because the thing is okay if you know that you wouldn't sit there even if it's your worst enemy and you wouldn't ask them a question in that way and like you're like woman to woman as a black woman, I wouldn't handle it in that way because you're aware of that and that's your character. It's like that should be your character the whole way through. Like in that kind of like releasing that to the world and allowing them to see that you can naturally like pull it down and be like, this is who Whitney is. Like she just want
But it was already in the world. I didn't know. I just said.
Oh my God, she's so
do you don't think that that's like wild?
No. At all? No. Do you know what it is? When I think when people treat you somehow off cam for years, and obviously like things like this are happening now, like I'm saying back on stage. No.
Okay.
Like I know
So
it's
way more time to dynamic.
yeah, I know my experiences with her. So like that question that she asked me, no, she was playing in my face. Like straight up playing in my face. She could have removed the question. She knows how heavy loaded that question is. Like, or could have briefed me before. Yeah, now you're playing in my face. And like, you know, our relationship off camera.
whatever, Whitney. You're the one.
Professionally. Now I look like the crazy.
Now this bitch has been playing in my face for an hour and 20 minutes of this interview. So I guess she would be the person to know when a bitch is playing in a bitch's face. Oh my God, she's exhausting. I'm bored. I'm bored, as Leanne would say.
Ones, but I'm gonna apologize for honest. Like, I won't. Because even her Snapchat response, where's her professionality? What? Because on Snapchat, like, so it's kind of like people like to pick and choose when when it's the right person to be professional. Like, if she was so professional, why would she have to? Well, because she's not on a stage anymore. So
I guess her clapback was to your
Video.
I think it would be different if her clapback was to the interview.
What do you mean my response?
So your podcast,
Yeah, that was the
her clapback for. Did she have a clapback for the interview? Like for
Me? That's the thing with the whole interview is like we've done the interview and then we had a disagreement after the interview.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
And then I don't even have my phone. So people are thinking that she's followed me because of the interview. No, she was giving it mouth after the interview. People like to act like I'm crazy, you know.
But
And
maybe people don't have context.
oh, because now I'm even thinking about it. Like, yeah, we were going back and forth after the interview.
Was that because one of you guys confronted each other about the interview?
No, I don't know what we were talking about. All I remember saying is like, oh, like, babe, I'm not gonna lie, like, you've been weird to me. Like, you're always weird to me. And then we were just going back and forth like that. And then Yamin was just like, well, like, Whitney, I'm gonna go. Like,
Okay.
it wasn't like a mash. It was like, why are you always like with me? And I was smiling like, I was genuinely asking. Like, we had a little back and forth. So obviously I don't have my phone. So now she's gone, unfollowed me, and then people are thinking, oh, this interview is so rude, and she's unfollowed. No, like she was giving it mouth after when the cameras were me. Like she was giving it mouth afterwards, and when the cameras come off, I'm thinking, oh yeah. And then obviously she's unfollowed me, so I get why it looks how it. Oh, is this what you lot are talking about?
Yeah, I mean,
right. That didn't even cross my mind to say. But yeah, so then obviously left the room.
Yeah, Woolie's not buying it.
I was she unfollowed me because of that. But I don't have my phone to even do anything. So it's kind of given all the interviews. Mind games. Literally playing mind games. Yeah, no, she actually started the argument first when the cameras came off, and then she unfollowed me to make the public think that I was recording. That's why she no. So yeah, then I got on my pod.
you already fueled by the argument that you guys had. Okay.
Because people actually think off camera. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but really, you can't say people like who would know? Who would know there was any sort of
yeah, but then I done the thing and I didn't have any grades because
you had no reason for
you were just trying to shit to me. Like what? So I done the pod and then she responded on Saturday. She started it. In fact, I'm the victim. What? I'm actually the victim. Come to think of it. No, I might be the victim, yeah, but no, that whole thing and her going back and forth was off camera. So no one saw that.
So would you say with everything that's kind of occurred and the way that you dealt with everything, do you feel like you're starting to wanting to go on Love Island to take back that old version of yourself, but also knowing that you're trying to evolve, like growing into this woman? Do you feel like this period, this everything that's kind of gone on recently has kind of allowed you to see different aspects of yourself, like see things from like a different POV?
I feel like
Zero accountability, Galaxy.
I'm at a point in my life where I understand whys. That's like I obviously see what it's about. And I'm like, why? It just doesn't make sense. Like, can a girl catch a break? And I don't think where I am in life to understand the why. I feel like I'm just understand later. I can understand.
Her and Belle are the victims, you guys. We just watched Belle's interview. She's the victim. She was crying. We watched this interview. Whitney tried to shed a tear. She's a victim. Everybody was against them. Leanne is horrible. Scott's even worse. And they're just innocent victims and they have no idea why people don't like them and are saying the things they're saying.
The why.
In your conversations with God, do you think you get any sort of? I know you're saying that you don't understand the why, or you haven't got that clarity. Is there things you are getting that's kind of easier to carry this thing with?
I think I'm learning, which sounds crazy because my whole life I've learning to be strong, but I think I'm learning and developing a different kind of strength.
What's the kind of strength you think you're developing now?
I think it's the kind of strength you really need to exude confidence. Like it's not a facade anymore. It's kind of like
I don't care.
I don't care. And I think the person that I need to become needs to be kind of fearless and that kind of strong. And it's unfortunate because I didn't see myself having to change it. All that, it's a lot of love. And you get people that send you prayers, and you get people that really get you. I think people support me, really get me, because to understand me, you need to be able to dissect me. Very complicated myself. So I'm appreciative that I have like hundreds and thousands of people that actually get me. That's rare. Very rare.
I do. I think when you were speaking earlier, I'm going to take it back here just for a second. When you were speaking earlier about the whole Scotland situation, I could really see a look in your face. And I think that was my first time seeing it. And you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I really got that that was like one of the shifts that kind of woke you up to this new level of strength. Kind of that level.
Yeah, I let my guard down. And yeah, my bad. Won't happen again.
I do feel like people are going to watch this and kind of be stunned at a lot of the stuff that you've said today. More so out of like them not understanding a lot of the things that have gone on and, casting judgments on you because of context. I feel like, obviously, good for you. I actually don't lost the will to care what people think about me and whatnot. The only reason I done this was for myself. Yeah. Because what I've noticed is that like when situations and it comes out, this is more like that because I was keeping out feeling that the answer situation. Yeah, maybe it was because of what she done with the whole Yemen situation. I was disappointed. And I just want to leave this chapter here. Yeah. Done. That's it. And this is the last time I really speak on it. It's done. She said, don't ever. No, let's move on to something a bit lighter. I want to talk about your relationship with Mr. Yemen. Oh, Yemen. You see the sparkles in your eyes. We're loving the pictures. Very cutesy. So I want to talk about that connection a little bit. How's it been? Especially now that you guys are off Love Island and, you're living in the real life and everything. No, we just This is the first time I've seen this babe smile at me from the beginning we started this conversation. I was screaming. I love it. Yemen. Yeah. Yeah, no, Yemen. What a beautiful chocolate man. Yemen is vibes. Yeah. Like, I can't lie. Like, yeah. I thought I was a slow burner. I'm like, Yemen, not gonna lie. Like, share. He's just my vibe. Yeah. And not even because obviously, like, we don't like to the looks kind of things. It's more so like I'm talking like what like look what you mean and done. Oh my god, where do you stop? Cut the camera. I'm not weird, bitch. Like no, babe, I'm weird. Let's be done. I'm it's only by yourself. I'm so weird. I love my man down. That's my baby. What yeah, but it's not my man yet. Okay. But no, Yemen, what characteristic by what I like about Yemen, and for a long time, I think I've never been with a guy who stands 10 toes behind me. Yeah. Or in fact, I stand 10 toes behind him, but it's like, of course, there are moments about
yeah, when she's not lying, I like it.
But publicly, it's you and I mean, so even like with the post we done about.
Had this whole hour and a half been her talking about Yemen, I would have caught a vibe from her. She would have came off sane. She like literally got some life in her and it feels authentic. It doesn't feel like she's trying to make a story all of a sudden. I don't know.
The whole drama situation. He's like, no, we're using this caption. You're my kind of drama. Like, he's just so sweet in the most sweetest ways. And I think for the first time in a long time, I've met someone that just doesn't care because the girlies be DMing him. Like, they be DMing him saying, like, run away from Whitney. She's an evil spirit. Blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, fuck all that shit. Like, we're doing us, whatever. But the last thing than that, hey. Anyway,
I was going to say, having this experience, knowing what you kind of experienced with the
so it's definitely new to have someone that stands 10 toes
with you.
What a difference.
Like,
yeah, I like
it. He's already back in the country. I said, damn.
Yeah, he's back. That's what I'm thinking. Let me hurry up now. I need to go to my dad.
You said, wrap this baby up. Last question on him, though, has this, being with this type of man, someone that has you smiling ear to ear like this, has it changed your perception of love, especially, let's get deep on you again, but like linking back to like some of the things that you kind of saw growing up?
Well, I see hope. It's given me a bit of hope. I hope it's the real deal. Only time will tell. but it's definitely, he's everything that I would want in a husband. Like, for sure. Like, even with things that happen online, I think last year was such a hard year, but I didn't have that backbone support.
Quite.
And like now, obviously, last year actually, I didn't even go. I was probably depressed, to be honest. And I think 'cause I didn't have someone like supporting me through the madness. I think Yemen, obviously, I can know madness is happening, but I'll be away with him. I don't see it. I actually don't see it because he doesn't let me see it. He doesn't want me to see it, and we just were so busy and active, making like each other laugh and creating like happy content, dabbing into each other's cultures. Is like we don't actually see it. That's why I'm so happy he's back today. I'm here, fuck y'all. Yeah, as in I'm off Twitter. Like
You need to be also.
yeah, but when I'm by myself, of course I'm like searching my name and I'm going.
You do that?
Yeah, I read everything.
Can you protect your brain?
I just spent the weekend in bed, like, fuck me, man. Like, but obviously, no. I'm fine with it. But, like, when I'm by myself, of course, like, I just dwell
Yeah,
on.
yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, it's easier. But when you're with someone, it's just like yeah, it's just guys. So he's back for like 3 weeks. So
Oh, you're about to be in joyful land.
yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, even after I release some. What's my own? I'm not gonna see the back. I'm busy. Like, you know what I mean? By the time I put your price, you know what you mind.
Help. In all seriousness, I'm so happy we did this.
Yeah.
I am so. Firstly, how do you feel about like the way everything has kind of gone in the conversation?
I think, yeah, I think
she's
obviously
the
a part of
focus
me is
galaxy.
like, I'm the kind of person like what I was saying to you about growing up. Like when something happens to me,
Yeah.
I just move on.
Yeah.
But it's giving the context. I'm thinking, why do I need to explain myself?
Yeah. It's not, but you know, it's not explaining yourself.
Yeah.
It's not explaining. It's making the story very clear. It's like drawing, like, it's like, no, come back, everybody. Don't think the story is like this. Understand it's like this.
Yeah.
Clarity is not the same as explaining. You're not here begging and telling everybody, oh, please hear my story. You're making things clear.
Yeah, but I think because obviously I was raised with the mindset of like, don't explain, move on. Like, don't express, move on. So in all these kind of situations, I get why people are judging the reaction. There's no context because I know I just actually talk people through
What's going on.
Yeah, how we got here. So I think this is probably the first time I've ever actually hold on, let me set the scene. I'm not crazy.
No, wait, I'm so proud of you and I'm excited to see what this era of life is going to bring to you, the growth we're going to see, the evolution. And yeah, I appreciate you being raw and honest and just even being willing. Because I feel like even could have just been, oh, man, I just move on. I care. Like I think it takes a level of maturity to kind of want to be comfortable with me asking you certain questions, probing you in certain ways, and not be offended by that.
Yeah,
I feel like that speaks a lot about your growth. Because I think in past you probably would have been like, hey, cut this camera right now. What are you on, lady? So I'm proud of you, and I think
you did a great job. Thank you for giving me the space. I felt safe. And
good.
Yeah, good spoke. Yeah, I'm just leaving everything here on this sofa.
Yeah.
We'll meet Belle show.
Period. Give me a hug.
Okay, we'll see if it's true or not. We'll see if Whitney really left it all on this lady's sofa. This was the Wound Me Bellow show on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and give that a like. She seemed like a nice lady. I'm gonna go ahead and subscribe. I like doing that. That was a good interview. I don't think she pushed back enough. Everybody's question is, why did you push why did you push Scott away from Leanne the first time before Cher got there? She asked that question. But the follow-up question, which is pivotal to her Yemen timeline, is why did you encourage Scott to explore Cher if he had been telling you he was into Leanne, if he had been telling you he was so into Belle? Why didn't you just tell him he needs to go explore Belle? That would have been one of my questions. And also just the fact of why are you pretending like you didn't tell Scott to go for it with Cher, which left Leanne susceptible and in the need to go pull other people for a chat on a show where you pull people to chat. Yeah, it's a lot. She was on Twitter right after. Ha 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 ha, really? I bet. She needs to leave it somewhere. Well, this has been fun, you guys. I'm gonna come back later. We're gonna get into the whole Sierra, Amanda, West of it all. But my PSA is just women, Don't have no friends around you and your man. Don't have no third wheel bitches be around you and your man. I don't care if you don't think that's his type. I don't care if you think she would never do that to you. What happened to Sierra with Amanda and her man Wes is proof that you can never have an extra hole around your man. You just can't. You just can't. You just shouldn't, and you can't, because Sierra kept bringing Amanda around her man like he wasn't going to do anything. And now they just announced that they're together. And Sierra was on the floor on the streets of New York City. Like, she was like literally on the streets. Okay. Anyway, Whitney, Catherine, call Scott on FaceTime. Yeah, I want her to. I need to see that. I need to see that. Nicolandria Nacho. I heard that. That's wild, right? So wild. And, they work together, LOL. Another real thing is, okay, so Whitney's saying that she's going to leave it all on this couch. Is that saying that she's not going to talk about it on her podcast anymore? Do you guys think that Scott owed Whitney to say something to the public after the way Whitney showed her ass? I don't think so. And I think that Scott was right. Let's look at all the edits together, Whitney. Let's see, why are the stands feeling this way, Whitney? Why could they be possibly feeling this way towards me and my girl? What did you actually say and do? Let's look at it all together. She said that Scott wanted her, Whitney, and Leanne to get together and watch the show and see what happened. Why are the fans feeling this way? And she's like, oh no, we don't have to watch what we already know happened. That's because you was doing all that behind the scenes, backwards, backstabbing ass shit. Yes, crazy work. Scott doesn't owe her anything because Whitney was working for herself and Belle. Exactly. It's still like she still is in her asking Scott to step up for her while Scott has a woman named Leanne, who we know Whitney never even liked that bitch. Whitney does not like Leanne. I don't know how they're trying to lie and say, oh, it was just the three of them. They were not giving, no vibe came off of those three that it was those three. Leanne always felt like an outsider to me in that whole all-star thing. Leanne felt like she was a caboose. Okay. Last one, single one out. She was included because she was on the island, but not included because they liked her or cared about her or respected her position. And yeah, it's a lot. I just found out that Belle has famous actor father. Maybe it's another reason why Whitney clings to Belle. It could be. It could be because they definitely got their story straight for these interviews that dropped on April Fool's Day. I'm like, is this a joke, bitch? Where's the laugh track? No, both those ladies were serious. They were serious. Okay, this is not an April Fool's joke. Those were two supposedly serious interviews that we just watched where these ladies, the Belle tried to whitewash history. I'm not sure what country she's from, but I'll just give her white. But her last name is Hassan. And then this one, she Naja washed history. Or whitewashed history. That's what we can call it. Whitewashed history. That's when Whitney washed the history to make it seem like she didn't push the lady over to the other place. Anyway, I gotta go. I need something to eat. I need to go get me some eggs and something, go run to the store. You guys, thanks for coming through. Smash the buttons. See you in the next video.